He called me bigot. Okay, no problem.
My name is Abina Johnson, and this is Focus on Liberia. Hit it! From Cape Mount to Cape Palmer, Mount Nimba to Atlantic Ocean, over me hills to Boakai, to educate, elevate, and promote. Yeah, focus on Liberia, for Liberia, Liberia, for Liberia, yeah. From Monday to Sunday, from Monday to Sunday, it's focus on Liberia. Talk about home affairs, in diaspora, current affairs, reliable information, history, talking about culture, politics, education, entertainment, business, sports, advertisement, articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. From Monday to Sunday. Focus on. My name is Abina.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Panelist.
And I am Anthony C. Welcome to our program On Point, where we expect our panelists to be on point on the issues. But for some reason, sometimes some of them are not on point, and we know it's okay. You can't always be on point. Seated and ready to be on point or not is Mr. Jerome Gilman. He is a strong supporter of President George Manuel Weah and the affiliates with the CDC. It's good to have you from the sunshine state of Florida. I understand. How you doing, brother?
Great. You remember the sign? Some people made a mistake. They thought it was number 2 by a piece, but this time now it is for Weah. So Weah took the sign from Joseph Boakai. We took it from him. We wrestled it from him. Number 2. I can see it coming. This is 2017 Redux.
He's laughing. That means he's ready to be on point or not on point. Also laughing and seated, ready to go, is a strong supporter of JMB, my friend Aliu Kamara. It's good to have you. Johnny Oz from Philadelphia. How you doing, brother?
I'm Johnny from Maryland. I'm doing great, and we are what? Number 1.
Number 1. Well, veteran journalist, I call him Yangbe. Big brother Gibson Juro is here. It's good to have you, brother.
Okay, thank you very much.
I see you showing 2 fingers.
What? Give me that laughing too much. Listen.
I just said thank you. I didn't say anything.
Okay.
All right, it's good to have you, Mr. Juro, for joining us today, and we hope that you will be on point. This should be an analytical show based on all the political variables and elements for us to determine who has a better chance to pull this thing off? Will JMB be getting the last laugh, or will President Weah be cruising again? Anthony Gay is seated. He is from the CPP, from the ANC. Sorry, brother, I understand you guys are now 1%, no longer 7%. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm excited for us to have this discussion. I think for me, I can speak freely without any hesitation. So yeah, I want to, unfortunately, we are here again with the same party, from 2017 to 2023. So what are the Liberian voters are telling us, all the different things. I'm excited for us to have this discussion.
Thank you. I saw the other three panelists showing sign of either two or one finger. Do you have one?
I don't have either side right now. That's the reason why I'm excited to speak freely.
All right. Talking about talking freely, this is what we are here for, to talk freely on who's going to win based on the political variables and elements. We're talking resources and everything else in between to determine who stands a better chance. Where it be Weah or where it be Boakai. Let's get started. Folks in cyberspace, if you are just joining us, this is our program On Point, or we're hosted here by Jerome Gateman, but he got his gloves on. So he said, my Peking, come and host this thing because I want to fight. We will be right back to get the ball rolling. Stay tuned.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Panelist.
A bad topic, Weah versus Boakai in presidential runoff 2023. The first simple and opening question, who will win this thing at the end of the day? Let's get started here with the man who is neutral, Anthony Gay. Who's going to win this thing, my friend?
Well, there are a lot of factors right now on both sides, and anyone who is willing to explore those factors will have the edge. One thing people got to understand is that this particular run-up is not about 50% plus one any longer. This is about one vote, 2 votes, or 3 votes different, and you win the election. So, for instance, if 10,000 people vote today, and one person has 6,001 vote, let's say 10,000 people voted today, and one person have 5,000
votes
and 1 vote, that's it. They win the election, right? And with that backdrop, each political party now need to sit back and say, okay, how do I approach this thing, right? You got to have an open arm. You got to reach out to other individuals. This is not about proudness. This is not about, entitlement. This is about reaching out to every person that you can get in your corner to be able to put this off. Now, with doing that, there are other factors that we have to consider. I'll begin with the ruling establishment. So the incumbent now, Judge Weah, who has this resources.
Mr. Gay, we just want to get your solid opening statement, and you during the discussion will be able to give the supporting details based on why you know now who you think stands a better chance to win this thing. That's what we want for you for now. We'll go into the details.
For me, there is a possibility on both sides. It depends how each one of them explore those possibilities. There's a possibility on both sides.
Thank you. Mr. Juro, who's going to win?
Well,
based on what you know. I saw that you are showing one finger. Who's going to win?
Holy shit.
Weah is going to beat.
There we go.
Really old man called Joe Boakai. The old man is a warmonger, it's a violence monger, and the Liberian people will not vote for people who will plunge our country back into war. So they were flocking unmercifully.
All right, we wait to hear the reasons and the supporting details to that position that President Weah or the CDC going to win this thing. Evan Morris is a panelist here at On Point, joining us from the beautiful city of, what city are you in? Brooklyn Park or Brooklyn Center?
I'm in Minneapolis right now.
You are in Minneapolis. Oh, he's joining us from Minneapolis. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing well. Sorry for being late, but I'm so glad to see Mr. Jerry here tonight or this afternoon.
And I think you
Thank
should be
you
a
for
happy
joining
man. Jeru has chosen your side, and you saw him there. He sounded so strong. Who's going to win this thing at the end of the day? We need a winner here.
I think Joseph Boakai is going to win slightly. You know, I support the president, but I think Boakai will win. And the reason is, you know, the opposition, like I said on a previous show, the opposition, after going against President Weah for so many months or so many years, to now turn around and support him, a lot of them will look at it as political suicide. So to save face, a lot of them will support him just based on their political future. But I wanted Mr. Giroux to come on the show today because I think what happened to him on Spoon last night was disgusting. You know, they were calling him a coward for openly supporting President Weah, but it was the opposite of cowardice because when you're on a platform where 99% of the people are in the opposition against this president, and you have the guts to stand up and tell them that you're not supporting the preferred candidate, that's not cowardice. Other people try to accuse him of being a tribalist and call him all kinds of names. You know, you have a glorified baby mama who was speaking against President Weah when in 2017 she said he was the best man to be president. So for me, I really wanted Mr. Giroux to come in because there was something about the people from Lima and the people from Grand G that were trying to use that to pit the two people against each other as the reason why Mr. Giroux was not supporting Joe Boakai because Prince Johnson was behind him. When Mr. Gongo is a Liberian and Mr. Giroux vehemently supported him. So I think it's important to talk about it because these are the things that's creeping into our politics right now, the tribal elements, and we need to discuss it. And that's why I think it was important to have Mr. Giroux here. So thank you for having me on. I'm looking forward to the show.
Thank you. We will look at the tribal factor in our election. We will deal with it very decisively and analytically as well because this whole thing about Southeast is all we hear. We don't hear about Northwest. We don't hear about Northeast. We don't hear anything of that. Southeast. What is it about Southeast? The whole region being branded or being talked about as just one tribe or one county. We will talk about that and the impact it will have on the election. Aliu Kamara laughs and he laughs. Who is going to win?
Southeast is real. Let me just admit to you, it is real. All right, they're the same people. But anyway, who is going to win? Joseph Boakai is going to win.
Thank you. Mr. Gilman, I know your answer, but this is a discussion. You know, you can somersault at the 11th hour, as you're right. Who's going to win this thing?
Well, I think you and I were on this show several times for the past 2 years, Mr. Aliu Kamara, and his lives have always said this president was so hated. The time was so hard that people were resolved. And it turned out that the president won the first round. The Liberian
Who's
people,
going to win?
according to Costa, the Liberian people, after all they have done, chose President Weah over Boakai. Boakai has no chance. This is 2017 redux. President Weah is going to flog him, and we are going to retire him. I wish it was ceremoniously, but this is going to be done unceremoniously. Thank you.
All right, gentlemen, we know there must be factors, and these factors and these variables and elements have to be worked by the two political institutions for either one of them to get on tap. Based on the results that we have in our possession, they each netted 43%. So that was a neck to neck. Now, the little that is left in between is now up for grab. Who is strong enough? Who is positioned enough? Who has the resources enough? Who is able to do the deal making enough? Who is able to do the groundwork enough? And that person might come on tap. I know all of you have made a decision who's going to win, but let us get into it and welcome Glende. She is now supporting Joseph Boakai. It's good to have you. How you doing?
No. Hold on. Glenda, excuse me. How come you are coming on here? You didn't let me know.
I will let you know tomorrow. Hello, it's good to be here. I could not miss this. I was busy, but I had to come on, especially when I heard Evans refer to a woman as a glorified baby mama. I would hope that he would take that back. That's not a description of a woman. So that is, if he had a problem with what happened on Spoon TV, address that. Address that as he may, but don't go and call somebody else's. Don't go and call a woman.
Let's call her adulteress. She's an adulteress.
Right.
She committed adultery with President Weah when he was
Everest,
married and had a baby by him. She's an adulteress.
That's an insult for me as a woman to hear you describe another woman as a glorified baby mama. You need to take that back. That's unacceptable.
No. This is politics. I'm not taking anything back. She can go on that platform and attack President Weah and cause President Weah, but we can't say who she is. She's an adulteress. She committed adultery with President Weah. And she's still on that platform and try to have some moral rectitude. She has no moral rectitude. She's an adulteress. That's what she is. Very much so. And I'm not afraid to admit it on this platform. She committed adultery by having a child with a man.
Baby mama. It's wrong.
Evans, may she learn and then you can come in. Glendy, I will give you the opportunity again to speak your mind. Go ahead,
for me to hear him say that I was doing something else, but I had to come on because that's despicable. And I, as a woman, I'm not going to accept that. Hearing describe another woman as a glorified baby.
What more despicable is you as a married woman and another woman having a child with your husband? That's even more despicable.
Even if she has a child by George Weah, that's not a crime. Even if she has a child by George Weah, who does he have?
Glendy, calm down. He did not attack all women. He did not attack all women. He spoke to one woman, Glendy.
Yeah, but I, as a woman, it's unacceptable for me
to
hear
it does not apply to you. It just applies to her.
It doesn't matter for me. I'm a woman here. Don't describe another woman as a glorified baby mama. That's my point.
Imagine, Glendy, if we were questioning everybody for talking about one man. All the men get start talking blow. You don't gonna blow be passing around.
Glendy, thank you for speaking your mind. Mr. Evan Morris, I will give you the opportunity to respond.
Thank you, Mr. C. Look, when people like Gongo are talking, who have integrity, who have a long history of integrity, and is criticizing this president,
Go get internet, my big
He got frozen there.
Yeah, you need to freeze.
Evan Morris got frozen there. Folks in cyberspace, if you are just joining us, this is On Point here at Focus on Liberia. The political season is heated right now, as you can see. And we are discussing today Weah versus Boakai in presidential runoff 2020. We don't just want you to tell us who's going to win. Give a meat, give a reasons. All right, that will suggest who's going to win this thing. Everett Morris is still frozen, so I will take him off the screen until he can make adjustment at his end. We'll continue. Let us welcome Mr. Jimmy Eastman. Jimmy, it's good to have you. Mr. Independent.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm between points, but it's a pleasure to be on with you fine people.
Okay, and who's going to win the runoff?
What did he say?
Who's going to win the runoff, Jimmy?
No, you know what? Let me tell you, I can tell you who will win, but my wife told me I better watch my mouth because when I tell somebody, they get vexed. So let me.
You mean so you don't want to be?
You know the thing, you love that prayer book. But I will follow Jeru lead. Wherever Jeru said, I will say too.
And what did he say? I didn't hear that.
Unbelievable.
There is supposed CDC, so he's supposed CDC too. That's what he said.
That's it. That's what he
All
said.
right. But Jimmy, it seems to be you are not settled down here. Please settle down and come make adjustment at your end there. Well, Alil.
Yes, sir.
Let's get the ball rolling with this thing here. Let's look at the numbers. 48, not 48, but 43.8%. All right. And that is the number that Joseph Boakai got. And we are got about the same number.
No. We don't have the same number. Please read the numbers.
I said about.
No, we want, please put the numbers up.
0.43 points.
Please put the numbers up.
They all have 43%.
Good. No,
about the same.
They both don't have 43%.
My man, don't hold this show hostage, man. Mr. Gimmer, don't hold this show hostage.
No, you remember the man said there was an
intellectual show.
Factual. Please
we
put the
are won
numbers
the first
up.
round.
Let's put the numbers
Yeah,
up.
I know, right?
We are won the first round. Let's say it that way.
That's what it is. I mean, you can't beat the number. Numbers don't lie. Just put the numbers up.
All right. Mr. Gibbon, thank you. So, President, we got a little more number, right? You got a little bit over Joseph Yuma Boakai, but the percentage remain in 43, right? And that's the point I'm making. The few thousand votes different may not be significant at this time until maybe in the second round. But the question I'm trying to ask, and Jerome trying to take me off point because he does not want me to take him off point, is looking at the percentages that they both got. It was neck to neck, right? So one can argue to say, hey, looking at the percentages, the Liberian people decided between these two individuals equally. What is left in the middle might not be enough, right? So who's going to win based on the numbers?
Yeah, just to support you, I was watching Al Jazeera, and they actually used the word tie between Joey and Joseph Boakai. That was the word they used, tie.
No, they used the word virtually tie. Not just tie.
They use virtually tie, or we say neck to neck, and that's the words the media use.
Okay, let's use virtually tie and virtually tie. Let the other line tie, okay? But anyway, look, let me just say this. Joseph Boakai at this point in time, and let me just be on the record by saying it's always been a two-horse race. It can be either or. But for specificity, Joseph Boakai stands a better chance at this moment. The opposition solidarity movement, Joseph Boakai has an edge. As someone who knows some of the things that are going on, Joseph Boakai already have most of the opposition candidates on his side. They have agreed to support him. And so imagine 200,000 more votes around there that went to the opposition. Joshua will get a share from them. But all Joseph Boakai needs is about $75,000 to $100,000 from that opposition vote, and he'll be all right. So Joseph Boakai stands a better chance at this particular time, and I know he will get more than half of the 200,000 votes that are up for grabs. But we're also pushing, more than 500,000 Liberians did not participate. We're also pushing at least 200,000 of those 500,000 to go to join, in the voting process. If we can do that, again, there's always a room. Because remember one thing, I always like to leave a room open, the window open. These are two formidable candidates. These are two guys who are extremely popular. So a race between them, one person cannot just tell somebody, say, okay, if this other person won't cut my hair, or maybe you might end up losing your hair. Okay? So where it stands at this particular time, I'm convicted that what happened in Lofa County, during the time Germany were doing their thing, they were too smart, it was very sophisticated. We found out at last, cannot prove it substantially, but we're going back and we'll close all of those votes. And Joseph Boakai will come out victorious.
Jerome, Aliu is basically saying this thing was a statistical tie. It was neck to neck, if you like, right? And if only all the opposition should come behind Joseph Boakai, it will put Joseph Boakai on the top, because President Weah got 43.8%. All right. And I don't know how he able to pick up some votes, right, to be able to beat Joseph Boakai, because the rest of the votes belong to the opposition community. Those are the other candidates, right? So he's saying those people are more likely, paraphrasing him, to count on Joseph Boakai side, putting Joseph Boakai on top. Do you agree with that?
Well, this is the myth about the Joseph Boakai team. When Joseph Boakai had the opportunity, when he was the chair of the opposition, he said he did not need anybody. I think Costa reinforced that. There has been, in politics, you do not burn bridges. That's why politicians, you cannot pin them down. They always find a weaker room. Joseph Boakai was emphatic. He burned all his bridges. He looked at CPP chairman, Mr. Cummings, in the eye, in the courtroom, and said, they asked him, he said, I don't know this man. I don't know who he is. He testified against the man, destroyed the man's career. Do you think now that he's losing, he's going to go to Cummings and say, that was politics, let's forget it? He turned around, the man who fed him for 6 years, Uri. He looked Uri in the eye and burned Uri. When his career was dead, it was Costa who single-handedly brought him back to life. He burned Costa. This man was also a godfather to Edwin Snow. When Edwin Snow left the CP, the Unity Party, Edwin Snow said he was expecting Joseph Boakai to call him and say, son, why are you leaving? Instead, Joseph Boakai sent him a text saying, one monkey can stop the show. We don't need you. This man and his team decided that the Southeast were insignificant. They had no number. They said, Nema County will swallow the whole South. We don't need them. Now we are hearing that he's going to be put in hammock and taken to the Southeast so he can appeal to them. They will laugh. This man has no political gravitas. This man will be destroyed. This is 2016, 2017 redux. He is going to lose, and he's going to lose massively. No opposition is going to align with this man. Joseph Boakai is politically toxic. He is ungrateful, maybe senile. He is a man who I think got dementia.
Is this man answering your question?
So what I'm saying here, and when we were talking about resources in politics in Liberia, you don't need money, you just need the people. Well, now it's time for you to deploy 14,000 employees to watch the poor around the country. They don't have any looking for volunteers. They have to do all this in 2 weeks. It is just not looking good for them.
Thank you. Glendy, you heard Jerome, and he's saying Joseph Boakai has burned all the bridges in the opposition. So to be able to get the opposition backing at this time is near impossible, thereby giving President Weah the edge. Do you agree?
What did you expect for Jerome Gamen to say?
I just want you to tell us whether you agree with him or not.
No, I do not. I definitely don't agree with Jerome Gamen. If you want to compare President Weah with Joe Boakai, George Weah was president. How many times did he go to all the counties? How many times did he go to the Southeastern region? You want to come now because it's almost election time when President Weah decides to go around the country to visit the different counties, and you think that counts in the 6 years of him being a president? I do not agree with Jerome. Absolutely not. I listened to President Weah talk today, talking about Southeastern region, how he traveled. I don't know whether he was preaching or what he was doing his church time, how he traveled from Riverside to another town, how long it took him, and he thought it was funny to tell the people that, it took him almost 8 or 9 hours to get from one area to another area of traveling by road when he has been president. And I think when he realized that it also puts him in the limelight of the fact that he's just been president, we don't have paved roads. Then he said, well, the roads issue been there since 1847. Are you kidding me?
Is that not true?
He should be held to a higher standard as the president.
But is that not true? The roads that were not built since 1847, can the roads be built in 5 years?
It could not have been, but he could have done some things. It could have been, and most of the roads that he finished were projects that were already in the works that he continued. They were not his projects. So when you're saying, when you have Jerome Gamen here, a Weah supporter coming to say, Boakai, they were putting, even if they put Boakai in wheelchair and he goes to the Southeastern region, it means that the people there, they deserve to see him, so he will go there. I don't have any problem with that. But I don't agree with what he's saying.
And he talked about burning bridges. I know you mentioned the southeastern part of it. Burning bridges, he mentioned Cummings. Yes, Cummings was taken to court. I'm sure you might have listened to Costa when he said he destroyed the CPP, he bullied Cummings for Joe Boakai. He did that. And you think Cummings is going to let all that go? The ANC folks going to let all that go and come to a Kumaya movement with Joseph Boakai and vote him?
So I'm not going to use Henry Costa as my source or the only source to the issue. I'm a Liberian. I follow the Liberian situation in Liberia. I follow the case for Cummings. So whatever Costa has to say, I respect him as a young man and with the enthusiasm that he has for Liberia. But I'm not going to rely on his summation of what he presented in these times. I know that what was done to Mr. Cummings was unfair. I, as a Liberian, I'm going to be honest. But Mr. Cummings is a Liberian. Mr. Cummings has said over and over, if he is not in a runoff, he will support the opposition. And I here as a Liberian, knowing him, a man of integrity, I would hope that he will continue on that trend because we trust that that's what he's going to do. Yes, I get that. I get that what was done when he was wrong. I get that they didn't treat him fairly, but it was not just him. You negate to mention that President Weah was the president in the country at the time, and the chief judge for that case was on the Weah side. So why are we only holding Boakai accountable when you have lawyers who were there? You have the state lawyer who also are looking for evidence against Cummings. So this is not just a one-sided Boakai thing. There are so many factors to the ill treatment of what was levied on Cummings that everybody needs to be held responsible and not just Joe Boakai.
Thank you. Mr. Churu, we're talking about making the moves and trying to get more votes from the opposition side to pull a victory. Joseph Boakai is a member of the opposition committee. I'm sure Glendy is saying that he stands a better chance of getting the backing and maybe endorsement of the opposition committee that will give him an edge to win this thing. Is that why you see? And she made the point that, well, even though Boakai might have, heading a hand in persecuting Cummings, President Weah too was involved. The Solicitor General openly has been a member of the CDC, was in the government and they did that. So it's not only Boakai that can be held responsible for what happened to Cummings. So I don't think President Weah is at the upper hand here when it comes to that. Your take? You are muted, Mr. Gerald.
This is why our politicians in Liberia, those who follow us, are always confused because our analysis seems to be faulty all the time. And these faulty analyses lead our people to making bad decisions. Look, Jeru put it quite right. So Boakai didn't just burn the breaches. He burned the breaches and washed the ashes away, just so that nobody can even see the trace. We expect George Weah as a sitting president to even send every opposition member to court because he will protect his position. But we didn't expect a member of the CPP to aid and abet the process to diminish another member of the CPP, which is what Joseph Boakai did. So now it is the time for people to call, for the Joseph Boakai to call around to solidify his base, to invite other oppositions to his side, to encourage them to join him, not to join George Weah. Can he do it? Can he call Cummings right now and say, Cummings, whatever happened is back gonna be back. I want you to join me. Talk to your people. Come and join me. Let's go and campaign in the next 2 weeks so we can beat George Weah. No, he can't. He can't because this old man has a heart of vendetta. He feels that Cummings was a threat to him, to his presidency, and he would do anything to bring down Cummings. Well, Jerome talked about Costa and other people, and the thing about the JNB people, the funny thing about it is that they don't seem to recognize the evil that JNB is committing, that is cutting down his own greasy tree. This man was being supported, and you always like people money. Anyway, let me state that. He always like people money. This man was being fed. His breakfast was being paid for by Costa and his father for years. Well, what did he do? He plugged it in the bank because somebody else brought $200,000 for him to come second to him. So let's look at the whole picture. George Weah have 7,000. I think I put it down here, which constituted the extra percentage that he won.
You should be asking for evidence around here. You should be asking for evidence.
Right here on the screen. Right here on the screen. This is Weah.
Yeah, that's the percentage for the 3.884%, which constitute an excess of 7,300.
No. It is 803,000. Look on the screen again.
No, I see it. I see the percentage. But when you subtract Joseph Boakai number from this whole number, the vote that George Weah won him with, that's what I'm reading.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
7,361 votes in the first round. But these people said they were going to make one round because George Weah no longer had popularity. These people said that George Weah was going to be flogged so much that even in Lofa, they couldn't beat George Weah to the extent that George Weah regret. In Foya, for example, George Weah beat him in Foya. This man does not even have a ground game in his own county. But guess what? That's not only that. Let me give you one more indicator of why Joseph Boakai will lose the second round. Look at what happened to the people who support Joseph Boakai in the election. Genetor KP from Grand Bassa County. None of them campaigned for him. He was fucked. They did not impress on the voters who are supporting Boakai to vote for Genetor KP. They flogged Genetor KP in Grand Bassa County. Look at Steve Zago. Look at Steve Zago in Grand Bassa County. I mean, in Lofa County. The people did not even campaign for Steve Zago in Lofa County. Their own man. He was screwed over in Lofa County. Not only that, they allowed Brandon Samokai to bring another candidate, and they are all United Party people to put them against each other. The two of them lost. Those people are angry. The supporters of Steve Zago will not vote for Joseph Boakai because they screwed him over. So what is Joseph Boakai? What is the ground game? Somebody told me about one of the last time George Weah visited the Southeast. Let's twist the question around. Ask Joseph Boakai, when was the last time you ever visited anywhere?
Thank you. Let's come to Mr. F. Morris. Everest, you listen to Joe there. You said just, oh, you have not spoken? All right. Sorry. Then you go, Anthony. You don't have anybody you believe will win. You are in the middle. That's why I wanted to go to the people who have sides. So please wait and exercise your patience. After you said Boakai is going to win, you listen to Mr. Juru there, giving some reasons why he thinks President Weah has the upper hand to win this thing.
Right. And before I even get to my point, let me just clear my last point. Sorry, my router was acting up. I had to go restart my router. But women are not sacred cows, especially ones who are not morally upright. Once you become a political figure, your private life is now open for scrutiny. And for those of us who are in opposition to Joseph Boakai and those who support him, if they have any more, deficiencies, we can point it out. So it's not attacking women in general. I have a mother who I love and I respect. I have sisters, who I love and respect. So when I'm calling out women, it's not to degrade all women. Let's just get that clarified. The reason I said Boakai will win these elections is because of the cowardice of some of these political figures who don't want to be seen to be, hypocritical after criticizing President Weah for so many years and then turning around and going to support him. That's why I think a lot of them will be, browbeaten into supporting Joseph Boakai. And that may just be enough to push him over the edge. But again, it's almost like, I hope I'm wrong, in this case, because if I'm wrong, then I'm right. Then President Weah wins. So, but just looking at the numbers and looking at the trend of how things are going, Boakai did pretty well. Even President Weah did even better because comparing him to Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, who got the same percentage point that he got last election for her second term, and then adding into the new voters that came into the electorate, he got more votes than the previous time. Last time he only got 38% in the first round, and then walloped Joseph Boakai in the second round. This time he got 43%. Almost 900,000 votes. Well, not almost, but a little over 800,000 votes. So he did better. The point I want to point out, I think this show should really be focused on. I mean, you are the moderator, but is this whole platform like this platform doesn't censor people who have different views. When you look at the quote unquote biggest platform, they attack Mr. Jeru like wild hyenas for having a different view than them. People saying, "Oh, the man shouldn't be allowed on this platform anymore. This man shouldn't even be coming on this platform anymore because he has different views." This platform is not a CDC platform. It's not a Unity Party platform. Mr. Kamara is here. Other people who support Unity Party and other candidates are always on this platform. Nobody said they shouldn't be here because they support different views. And then the tribal elements that they try to infuse into it. The jury was on that show being attacked from all sides. People who are political BMs acting like they are now, the more upright, more upright people.
Let it go. Let it go to the show, bro.
We will call them out for who they are. I'm not taking a backseat anymore. We have to call them out.
Evans, that's not a discussion. We're not yet. Mr. Juro is competent enough to defend himself.
That man,
He's been around. He's been in the
no,
media.
It really peed me off.
Yeah,
and that's why I wanted Mr. Gimmon to invite him on the show. I take it personal because they attacked my tribe on that show. They attacked my tribe on that show.
So then go to
they attacked my tribe when the crown people are being killed in Liberia. I'm a crown man. I was a crown baby at the time. I could have been killed. So when they attack my people on the show, I have a right to defend them. Especially if I have some little voice to say it, I will say it on this platform. I will say it.
Now you're defending crown people.
Yeah, Evans, please
so leave
that.
Move on.
We'll get to the tribal aspect of the discussion.
Let's get to it. Like I said earlier, I think Boakai will win because of political cowardice from the opposition.
Evans, you are saying Joseph Boakai is going to win because the opposition community criticized President Weah throughout his first term. And for them to now turn around to go support President Weah, it would be like all that they were saying, they didn't meet it. And so they will be constrained to support Joseph Boakai, and Joseph Boakai going to win. But this is what I'm going to share with you for you to conclude here. If you look at the election results at the legislative level, the CDC won 25 seats. The CDC won 25 seats in the House of Representatives. Unity Party won 10. What is the difference?
It's 15, right?
15. How will you classify that? So looking at that number, don't you think President Weah has the edge here, or the CDC, has the edge here?
And that's it, Mr. C. I want to go with my heart, but I'm going to go with my head. The reality is, all politics is local. Most of these political figures are not local politicians, especially those who are running for presidential, elections. Cummings is not running for, senator in Maryland County. Gonglo is not running for representative in Nimba. They were all national political figures. The point that I'm making here is, people are saying that how can Gonglo go and support George Weah, who he criticized his whole, this whole campaign season as being corrupt, being incompetent, and all of these things that he said about him. How can he now turn around as a paragon of morality and then go and support President Weah? It will look bad for him and his reputation. So he's already in a box. That's the point that I'm making. And then you have Cummings, who said President Weah has to be a one-term president, was so adamant about it. And now is he going to flip and say he has to be a two-term president? So that's why I'm saying these political figures are in a box.
Go neutral as he did the last time. Who you think would benefit?
And that should be the question. Now, if they abstain from supporting anybody, then that favors President Weah. But then again, they may criticize Cummings for the same thing that he did in the 2017 election by abstaining. And then they may do the same thing with Taiwan Gonglo. But if you're talking about people abstaining is different, then I think if they both abstain from supporting any of these candidates, President Weah has the edge, especially in places like Nimba.
Thank you. Mr. Anthony Gay, what do you think the other opposition leaders going to do at this time? Are they going to endorse Joseph Boakai? Are they going to support Joseph Boakai? And if they do, would that help him? If they decide not to endorse him and go silent, who benefits?
I don't know if politicians in Liberia watch other countries, for instance, for the United States, people like, Joe Biden, when they were senator, how they used to go across the aisle and make it work for the people. I don't know if they have any kind of John McCain-like politician in Liberia. Because if I were a person in the Weah camp, I can pitch a message, a marketing message that can you vote and opposition leaders to Weah side can say, listen, I'm going to reshuffle my cabinet. I'm going to reshuffle my cabinet. I'm going to bring any individual who have expertise in this particular area. Instance, the Department of Justice, right? The Ministry of Justice. I'm saying department, not because I mean America. And the final ministry. These two key cardinal ministries, I will reform this ministry and bring in new, czars to run this area. That message will resonate with the Liberian people because nobody expected CDC to win 25 representative seats. That's huge for an incumbent to have 25 representatives coming back. Any agenda he puts on the floor will fly. So he has so many chips to put around. He has the bargaining chip. He has the political capital. He has a whole lot in his arsenal.
Mr. Gay.
Now, when it goes, yeah.
Mr. Gay.
No, Mr. Gibbon, I don't have time. I'm not time after Jay.
No, I just want a point of correction. The CDC won 15 senatorial seats. Unity Party won. That's all.
No, I'm talking about representative seats.
No, I'm just telling you so you can know that. Yeah, how huge it is.
I know. And CPP also got 6 seats from the
correct.
representative side, right? So, but let me say this, right? So, if one of the things that George Weah has, and many Liberians will agree with me, the way he talks, the Liberian people liked it. And if he speaks in that way and say, listen, hey, that thing, took me by surprise. I've never been a president before, and now I'll reshuffle my cabinet and I'll bring individuals to help move this country. He have an edge. Now, on the flip side, if Joseph Boakai also pick up a phone and say, listen, we have situation, in the past. But look, Cummings, hey, Monimba, Gonglo, I need you guys. And for me, I believe in optics in politics. Looking at Monimba, Cummings, and Gonglo standing on the same platform with Boakai, it will be symbolic. But these are steps that these guys will not be willing to take. Like I told you about the circumstances with Weah. If we are telling Liberian people, listen, we got it wrong, but we have an opportunity here now to get this thing right, and I will bring in X, Y, and Z people and reshuffle my cabinet. That's a message that will resonate with the Liberian people. And
especially when it comes to inclusion.
Move forward, put your country first. It will be tough for anybody to vote against that.
All right. Alio, please exercise patience. Let's welcome my good friend, Mr. Michael Palmo. Mr. Palmo, we have versus Boakai in presidential runoff 2023.
Hey.
Who you think has the edge and will win, looking at the numbers we saw in the first round?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Sia. It's great to be here. Excuse my tardiness. I had some things going on I had to take care of. Looking at the numbers from the first round, looking at the atmosphere since the end of the first round, at today, if I had to predict today, I would say Weah has the edge. Mm-hmm. George Weah has the edge.
And is there anything he can do to lose that edge? And is anything Boakai can do to gain that edge?
Yeah. I mean, at this point, there isn't much George Weah can do to lose the edge, mm-hmm. but definitely is a lot of things that Boakai can do to take away that edge from Weah and actually swing it into his favor.
And what do you think Weah can do to solidify that edge? And does he have all it takes to do so?
Well, there are two things Weah can do. The first thing is that Weah can garner all of the seditions that ran or individuals that ran on the CDC ticket, provide them with the right resources, basically money, to get back out there and start garnering the voters in those districts across the country. That's what George Weah can do right now. And as a matter of fact, that is what George Weah is doing right now. The other thing George Weah can do is that he can also use those resources to bring onto his side other people who ran independently that did not win, but were able to get sizable votes on their side. These people have spent lots of money. Everybody here knows elections are not cheap, especially in Liberia. these people have spent a lot of money. They did not win. They probably took loans from individuals, from market women, from Susu people, with the hope that they were going to win. Now they're down. And those people now, George Weah can come to their aid and say, let me even you out. Let me give you something so your effort wasn't in vain, so you can take care of your debts. But in return, you have to return to those districts, and you have to encourage those people to vote CDC. That is definitely what Weah can do, and that is what Weah is doing. As I speak to people on the ground, that is what Weah is doing right now.
All right. Alio, what do you think Mr. Boakai can do at this point with political leadership to give him the winning edge?
First thing, let's establish that most of the representative seat that was won by the CDC, more than 90%, at least 85% was from the Southeast. Let's just make that clear before we go any further. Listen.
A point of correction. CDC flipped the entire Lofa County. They want 5 out of 7 seats in Lofa. So don't go there with that.
And Aliyu, hold on. Let me correct. In Mangibi, CDC won 3 seats. In Monserrato, CDC won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seats. All right. And so let's go to Lofa. Lofa, they won 3 seats, and Unity Party won 2. So the majority of the seats they won not from the Southeast. So I just wanted to make that clear.
Why you ain't lead Kamara in here?
So go ahead, Mr. Kamara.
It's amazing how these guys can't understand simple English. I said most of the representative seat was won in the Southeast.
And that is not correct. Most of the seats are not from the Southeast.
Even if he said most, the statistics are proving otherwise.
But I tell Mr. Kamara time to speak. Why everybody keep interrupting?
Mr. Kamara, you are protected.
I give Mr. Kamara time to let him be protected. I mean, come on.
You are protted, my friend. Is your spirit going away?
Well, I have to pick it up if it goes.
All right, sweetheart. It's the Southeastern thing. When they hear about Southeast, even though these are all facts, they're so troublous in that region. When they hear about the Southeast, they get jittery. They don't want to sit down straight. But they will hear it, whether they like it or not. Look, Mr. Honorable Boakai has reached out to a lot of the opposition. We have a lot. You know, there are some in the opposition that you just cannot work with, that are not willing to be worked with. They're sitting on their high horses. They're so sophisticated, so rich, so educated, and people must bow to them. Those ones, our windows are open for them to come in. And if they don't like it, they can go and support George Weah. We're not worried about that. But what I can tell you is that there's a ground game going on right now on the part of the Unity Party to making sure Unity Party is the most technical political party in Liberia, the most experienced political party in Liberia.
We didn't see that from the war room.
The Unity Party, I know I will face the toughest of time here because I am the only, me and Glendy, we're the only opposition here right now. But listen to this. The Unity Party has
ever said that Boakai's going to win.
That doesn't mean he's not opposition.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So where was I? So the Unity Party saw the loopholes in the first round, and the Unity Party will do everything to close those holes.
Do you mind to share the loopholes?
Well, all I can tell you at this time, Mr. CA, is that the Unity Party is doing everything in its power to make sure that what happened during the first round does not repeat itself. But remember one thing, and I will tell you this. Are you
suggesting the Unity Party did not do everything in its power during the first round?
I don't know if anybody can do everything, but let me tell you this.
But you are saying they are doing everything now.
Anthony, let me tell you this. Anthony, I'm speaking so plain. let me tell you this. Look, for some of these smaller candidates or smaller political parties, you will realize that the Unity Party worked assiduously. That's why the Unity Party is even where it is right now. Some of those smaller parties, we can admit to you from what we have seen that some of them were cheated. Some of them were cheated. So even though the Unity Party came neck to neck with George Weah, you don't think the Unity Party did well to secure its votes, then that's on you. But what I'm telling you is, what we saw other people go through, we will not go through in the second rounds.
Thank you. Let's talk about resources, panelists. That is key. And using resources to make political deals, that will be key in netting the victory. Jerome, what resources does the CDC have, and how, in your opinion, the CDC going to use those resources to advantage to pull the victory?
Well, from the beginning of last year, I kept saying it on this show, the election will be transparent, it will be peaceful, but it's not going to be fair, for the fact that when Joseph Weah was the incumbent in 2016, he has the power, the resources, and the wealth.
You got to make correction. Can I make correction there? He was not the incumbent.
Sir?
The incumbent was still sitting in office when that election was over.
Excuse me. Joseph Weah was representing, and he was in power. He was the sitting vice president. That makes him an incumbent. He wanted to continue the third term of the Unity Party.
Oh, well.
He wanted to continue. He wanted to continue the third term of the Unity Party. He had resources. He had helicopter. He has money. He has everything to his disposal. And CDC pulled up a firewall and beat him. Now that President Weah is in power, and he's the incumbent, he has the same helicopter that Joseph Weah had. Joseph Weah doesn't have a helicopter anymore. Joseph Weah doesn't have cars. Joseph Weah is borrowing money to buy fuel. Joseph Weah don't have enough cars. In fact, the government had to help him out. So when we talk about resources from the beginning, when we're talking about political tactics, the Unity Party people say we don't need, the Liberian people don't need money. They are resolved. The Unity Party don't need collaboration. We don't need CPP. We don't need these people. We don't need Euro. We don't need Costa. We are resolved. We can do it by ourselves.
You're repeating yourself now.
That's correct. I'm a sociologist. You have to pound it in people's heads so they can get it. When you say something 4 to 5 times, people get it. I'm a social scientist. I know what I'm talking about. If you knew this, if Anthony Cassidy had listened to me, he wouldn't have said you didn't need money. Now that you are looking for 14,000 poll watchers in 2 weeks, you are now you're the chairman of your party in Montserrat. Darrell Dillon is on the air saying we don't have money. We're looking for volunteers. Can you imagine taking people from Monrovia, volunteers, to Grand G, the River G? You need
Jerome, I believe, if I'm, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure you volunteer with the Obama campaign. Didn't you? And Obama won, right?
No,
so volunteerism work.
But listen to this. The budget, I wasn't paid, but we had a budget to carry out, to hire people. We had door-to-door campaign. We have phone bangers. We have people going everywhere. In fact, the food that they were eating, all the pizzeria in the area, we budgeted for those things. So the money, while I wasn't getting paid, we had a budget, a huge amount of budget.
Well, how sure are you that Unity Party don't have a budget?
But from what you
hear,
hear,
how sure are you?
I know they don't have it.
You're just going by hearsay. You don't know.
Lenny, I'm coming to you, and you can tell us the resources the Unity Party may have. Jerome, you are protected. Please let me
tell you the importance of resources. When we said it here, the folks were saying they didn't have it. In the Senate, this going election, Unity Party won only one seat. One. The Unity Party won one seat in the Senate. One seat. That tells you the power of resources. You have to mobilize. You have to invite. You have even your volunteer. You have to feed them. You have to move them. You have to buy gas. In fact, when these 14,000 people are deployed around the country, you have to feed them. You have to house them. They have to sleep.
Why worry? Why are you worried?
Money. This is why campaigns say we need budgetary people. We need
why are you worried?
Budget.
Thank you, Jerome. And
don't be worried about United Party. Worry about CDC.
Glendy, we are talking about resources, and Jerome is right there. When you look at the final results there for the senatorial level, United Party won 1 Senate seat. The CDC won 6 Senate seats.
Okay, but they still lost some major seats. If you're the ruling party and you lost a speakership, that's huge.
So let's talk about the resources. How
they can get it back to they got most of
how position is the Unity Party?
But the fact is that
Unity
lost first.
Hold on, please. Glendy, do you believe the Unity Party that has serious resources constraint in the first round? The first round was like 5 years to 8, right? And now the second round we have just 2 weeks. The Unity Party had that time, and yet they didn't have the resources that were needed for them to really compete, right? So now they have 2 weeks. You think the Unity Party can, gather the resources it would need to participate?
They gather what they needed to get into the first round. They will get what they need to get into the second round.
What we gather, Glendy, you will continue. We gather that was not enough. So they didn't have much for pool watchers. Even their war room was broke. They didn't even come with any number.
Those are hearsays, though. Those are hearsays. If you want us to start looking at pool watcher and look at rooms, then we need to look at all the parties, including ANC.
Their war room never released a single number.
Leave us alone.
Not just UP. We can look at everybody.
When it comes to money,
not just UP. Because if we're looking at pool watchers and looking at war
the
rooms,
CDC that claims to have all the resources, the CDC too, did not release a single number from a war room. Also, the ANC did not release a single number from their war room, which was
ANC people here talk to them about their war room. I don't know about ANC war room. I can only tell you asked me a question about UP, and I'm saying whatever funds they need to get them through the second round, they will get it. And even if people, myself here when doing Obama time, I was the leader for my area, and there was volunteer. People volunteer all the time. They don't pay people all the time to do what people are convicted. They want to change in the area they were doing. I think Liberians are doing. I don't know what the budget is for Unity Party. I don't know how much money they have, but I know that they will get there. And if it means that we who are here supporting them will call the people down there on the phone, we will volunteer and we'll do what needs to happen. So I can't come and speak for the budget. I can't come and speak for what they have because all we're doing here is hearsay. Gerald Gammon, I in UP camp. He wouldn't know. Michael Palmer, I in UP camp. Those people would just be basing their stories on what they've heard or what they're assuming. They don't have facts. So that's it.
You get fine?
Say that again.
No, nothing.
Thank you. Anthony, go ahead. Resources. Who you think
I want to respect for the
who you think has the advantage, and will resources make any difference? Because we saw Fala with resources, he didn't succeed. Vanish Sherman have resources, he didn't succeed. Many people have resources, they've never succeeded. Trump had resources, he never succeeded as well. Go ahead.
So I want to disagree respectfully here with Sis Glenn for a bit. The circumstances that we're talking about today, CDC won the election on 2 fronts. CDC won the election on the legislative side and also won the election on the first round on the presidential side. That's huge. They may have lost. They may have lost the speakership, but they can gain it back because they have the numbers.
Which election did they win?
I'm talking about numbers. In numbers, wow, they are ahead.
The popular vote.
So they didn't win. They are ahead. They didn't win. There's no winner.
Waka came second in the first round. Like I said,
thank you. We are first, Waka second. No winner there.
It's a win. Politically, it's a win, right? So, even though Buffer Chima may have lost a seat, but the CDC can still claim the speakership in the House of Representatives. because they
If
have
they
the
win.
numbers to get the speakership, right? So that is a win-win for the CDC party. They are still incumbent. They have state resources. If they spend the money right, CDC can still be re-elected. However, there is also a possibility for the United Party to flip this switch to favor them so they can win the second round. But how does that work out? It require a lot of work being done on the United Party side compared to the CDC, because the president has that bullet pulpit and say, listen, I can reshuffle my cabinet, and I can bring individual in to do X, Y, and Z. Look, you bring my opposition, bring criticizing me that you have this especially with the issue of the justice system in Liberia. Mr. Gonglo, we know you are a man of integrity. We will put you in this position of being a minister of justice. Many Liberian people embrace that. If President Weah is pounding that message from his heart, that's a positive message to present to the people. Listen, our former ministry have been struggling. We'll bring a man of integrity to do X, Y, and Z. These are things that George Weah have in his arsenal. Now, if Boakai will not listen to Aliyu and say, oh, there's certain people who can reach out to and pick up that phone and speak as a statement, he can also sway this vote in his favor. But if you listen to people like Aliyu and other folks who say, oh, some people get feed out that the two big people should bow down to them. Here's the thing. Who wants the presidency? That Joseph Yumon Boakai. What do you do to get there? Reach out. Period. The goal is to get to the finish line. It's now who you talk to, how you get there.
Thank you. Let's look at the regional element, and somebody may say the tribal element that politicians also try to exploit in their favor. While we are hearing, and I'm going to quote the Vice President, Weah Howard-Taylor. Weah Howard-Taylor was interviewed, and she was speaking to the people of Bone County. Said that, you see, the people of Southeast, they voted for their son.
Imagine.
The elections that are coming, you should vote for your own. She's asking Bone people, the Pella people, to vote for their own. I don't know who is actually their own.
Joseph Boakai. Joseph Boakai.
All right. But I think what she meant is that the Southeast voted for Weah, and she is, I don't know what region she's from. Maybe the people of Bone County should vote for her overwhelmingly so that they can win. So that is the tribal element or the regional element there. Aliyu, you think that is good politics? Is that going to help to make a difference for either one of these sides?
I didn't have a chance to speak yet.
Thank you so much, Anthony. Listen, first of all, let me clarify this about the money issue. I never had a chance to really talk about that.
Okay, go ahead.
I was in the elections in the campaign process in 2005 in Liberia. Barney Sherman was the wealthiest man. He had just come down from corporate America with tons of millions. Barney Sherman asking what part of the what place he took in that election. We saw in these elections that just passed, the richest man in the opposition, Alexander Benedict Cummings. Maybe you can ask Anthony Gay and the other guy who looking so serious over there, Mr. Pamo. They will tell you what position Mr. Cummings took.
You got 1.6%. Let me help them. 1.6%.
The poorest man there, JMB, and you can tell us where his position right now. But
you got 43.4%.
Okay, tell them, let them know. So you can see that right now. Liberia, look, Anthony, unfortunately for us, when God created that place, he put languages, a lot of different languages there. I think God endorsed these differences in a good way. For us to play blind eye, to say, oh, Glennie is a Bassa woman, I'm a Mandingo man, that we don't have some differences just because we're all born in Liberia, then we're playing blind eye to things. When you have two sisters, both of them have children. These two sisters are from one mom, one pa. They love each other's children a lot. But when it comes down to it, everybody will hold their own first. It is a natural phenomenon, self-preservation. We all can say, oh, the Southeast did it, the Southeast did it. It's a natural inkling. Even though it didn't make any sense for men who never get any even road to go to their villages, but yet they will vote for him overwhelmingly. I wish it didn't happen that way, but it's a natural inkling. It only becomes a problem when people say it. The Southeasterners did not say it, they acted. It is the same thing. But when Joe Howard says it, oh, she's tribalist. She's tribalist. And God forbid, Joseph Boakai better never mention anything like that. In fact, he's walking on a very fine line when it comes to the tribal thing, because he's going to be, oh, they will bamboozle him for it. It is a natural thing. Americans are supporting the Israelites. Why are they supporting Israel against Palestinians? Because they believe that they are descendants of the Jews. It is a natural thing that people fight for their own. Liberia, there is an issue of tribal divide. There is an issue of ethnic divide. That's why we have 3 ethnic groups with 2 being similar. So it is what it is. I don't fault Joel for saying what she's saying. It is campaign time. You got to do what you got to do to claim the number. And that's what she's doing. But I can tell her one thing. The Pellet man's uncle is the Kissy man. So when she said vote for your own, we can definitely claim that she's talking about Joseph Boakai. Thank you.
Evans Morris?
Look, I mean, we have to take this in terms of, we have to look at the nuances in this issue. Who does Joseph Boakai has behind him? You have Prince Johnson behind him. So a lot of the people openly saying that the people from Grand J are not going to support Prince Johnson. The people from Grand Crew, people who know what happened in Lukutan, in Caldwell, they're not going to support Prince Johnson.
When you're looking at politics, please, with Joe Weah on the ground, people support Joe Weah. Correct him there, Anthony.
Please, hold on, my man. When Prince Johnson was with George Weah, he was nowhere close to the vice presidency. What Prince Johnson did, he sold his people's ministerial position for the money up front. That's why they only have one position, one cabinet ministry at the Post and Communication Ministry, because it was inconsequential. Because Prince Johnson, the fee that CDC paid Prince Johnson to support them was astronomical. So those other people who supported President Weah, who just came based on support and brought their own resources to support him, they were rewarded with ministerial posts. So Prince Johnson, that's why you see he didn't complain too much. When they were campaigning, he started complaining, oh, they only get on one post in telecommunication. But all the money that CDC gave him, what he did with it, he finished building his university quickly to charge the people in Nima to go to his school, the man who love his people so much. So the tribal elements in this thing is not only simply based on tribal sentiments, it's based on the people behind Boakai. I told you before on this platform, if Boakai had picked somebody else other than Jeremiah Cooper, I may even support Boakai. I said it. So as a crime man, I'm not going to support Prince Johnson. I'm not afraid to say it. I'm not going to support Prince Johnson any day. If you put George voted behind George Weah, you think the people Nima will support President Weah? Of course not. They won't. So if we sit here and say that,
Evans, before you continue, George Weah, who did Joel Howard Taylor behind himself? Joel Howard Taylor, former wife of Taylor. I don't think she can claim innocence of what happened. Can she?
That's a flaw point, Mr. Shea. Because the reality is Joel Howard Taylor never took go and blow people brains out in Liberia. Charles Taylor is in the Hague. He's in prison. He has no influence over Joel Howard Taylor. He's not enjoying the money from the Liberian people. He's not getting no salary. He's not getting no per dime. He's not getting no under the table deal. Joel Howard Taylor, if she committed any war crime, show us the evidence. Prince Johnson killed Walter Allison on camera. Pay Tecumseh Robert on camera. Vani, what is it?
Morris, the thing is, Joel Howard Taylor benefited from the presidency. Charles Taylor have to come slaughter people, all right, to become president. And Joel Howard Taylor was there and she milked it.
Okay, let me give you a contemporary example. We should condemn Stanton Witherspoon's wife for being a criminal because she married a man who is a criminal. Is that a fair assessment? Of course not. If your husband is a criminal and you marry that person, does that make you a criminal? Does that make you an accomplice to his crime?
After he committed a crime?
The reality, look, please, Mr. Kamara, don't interrupt me. The reality is Weah Taylor did not commit murder in that country. We have few murderers that we know who are in positions of power. We have the George Bullet, we have the Jaya Nimle, we have the Prince Johnson, and their life.
Listen, do you know when Weah Taylor married Charles Taylor? Do you know the reason Weah Taylor is still carrying the name Weah Taylor? She could change her name, the divorce, right? I know that's her right, but there's a reason she's keeping that name.
Look, Mr. C, like I said, if you say that Weah Taylor committed war crimes, it's a different
That's
story.
not what I'm saying. No, I didn't say that.
You're making her guilty by association with Charles Taylor. What, Mr. Kamara, please don't confuse the 2 points. The reality is Weah Taylor did not commit any violent crime against any Liberian. If there's been any rumors of it, we would have heard it by now. He didn't kill anybody.
They were wrong for censorship.
He didn't kill anybody. Please let me make my points. Don't try to pinpoint me in that box. My point here is the reason the people from the Southeast voted George Weah is because number one, let's not forget, he was no, please stop it. He was a beloved figure nationally before he even became, a politician. So people already love him. They're proud of him. They consider him a hero, not a war hero, but a national football icon, a hero who came from the slums, who came from that impoverished region to do great things on the African continent and worldwide. They loved him for that reason. Okay? Nobody from the Southeast has experienced any kind of wide admiration like George Weah. And that is because of his celebrity status and what he did for the country nationally and the fact that he came from that region. Not because he's only a crewman, so to speak. That's not why. So it's not purely based on tribal sentiments. There are people who came from that region who've been running for presidents, for the presidency and barely got any votes. It's not because they were not crew or gribble or cry or whatever. So the point here is Joseph Boakai chose to go with Prince Johnson, and there was rumors when he said he would dance with the devil to get to the power that he's been desperately seeking for. So for me, I can't support it. I can't support it, and other people of my kin will not support it because they know what Prince Johnson did. And Prince Johnson even said on his platform before, what is the Savannah have? They got no beautiful houses. The people from that side are very tribal. They're very this, they're very that. He always disparages the people from the Southeast. He's a divisive figure just like Joseph Boakai. And the people from the Southeast are not stupid. They know that putting Prince Johnson there is putting somebody who committed atrocity against the people. And they will not stand for it. That's why. Not only based on tribal leanings, but based on what the person did to the people past. Thank you.
Mr. Padmore?
I was going to say, can you give me 30 seconds?
Please.
Can you give me 30 seconds here?
No.
Go for it.
George Weah was the son of Samuel Doe, right? You remember that? You and I were grown up enough.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that? George Weah was the son of President Doe. Why would Prince Johnson and the Gil people support George Weah when George Weah's father killed a lot of Gil people?
Man, please.
Prince Johnson did that anyway. He supported George Weah, right?
Yeah. Why would Prince Johnson support George Weah?
question?
I'm asking that young man who's talking about because some people for war, nothing.
All right, thank you.
For money. That's why he supported Weah for money. And he gave that money and he used it to build university. That's why. He has no moral integrity. He did it for money. He's a seller. He's a political mercenary. He's a cheap political asset. That's what he is. He did it for money. And he got the money. And he wanted more money this time around. He wanted more money, President Weah said no. That's why he wanted Joseph Boakai. We all know it.
All you're saying, I will treat it as a rumor that President Weah gave Johnson money to pay his university is just rumor. I'm not sure there's any fact to that.
Prince Johnson is essential for pay to play. What does pay to play means? That's what he's essential for. That's what he's well known for.
Mr. Palmer, we're talking about the tribal, regional, thing about our politics. Does it actually work? And if each party decide to exploit it, who you think stand a better chance to benefit? Because my sense is that a lot of people who support Joseph Boakai, and they are looking at what Weah is from the Southeast. If we try to use this, the other regions of Liberia, when they come together, they are in majority. Joseph Boakai will win. That is why they're trying to evoke. The vice president said, vote your own. I don't know who she calls her own. I don't know that Boakai, because she's on a Weah ticket, but I think she met herself being, part of Bon County that is in that region. So talk to me about that. Is it something we should be talking about? Does it work?
I don't believe it works. I don't believe it works.
I think I should believe you because you have Charlene Bronsky on that ticket and you fell short in Grand Bassa, right? Go ahead.
Well, no, not exactly. That's not exactly why. Even though we fell short, it was because of division. It wasn't because of anything like that. But I don't believe it works because we saw what happened in Lofa. Joseph Boakai only won 56%. If you compare it to 2017, where he won over 70%, you will see that for the last 6 years, CDC has put work in Lofa. They said it. They said we're going to put work in Lofa. And when we put work in Lofa, we'll create a dent in Lofa. And so even though Joseph Boakai is from Lofa, CDC was able to go against the grain and put work in Lofa and reduce the numbers to where, he's looking at 50, 55, 56%. So I don't believe so. The Southeast voted for George Weah because Unity Party did not put any effort in the Southeast. They barely campaigned in the Southeast. In the last days of the campaign, Jeremiah Cohn went this kind of weird win throughout the Southeast and then came from there. And that was about it. If Unity Party had put effort in the Southeast, they would have won votes in the Southeast. But they didn't do so. And if you don't campaign and you don't engage the people, and they only see one person talking to them and engaging them, they're going to go with them.
How much campaign CDC did in the Southeast?
CDC already had influence in the Southeast.
Okay, then thank you. That's what we're saying.
You asked me a question. CDC has been campaigning in the Southeast since 2017.
How?
They never stopped because CDC, after they won 2017 and came into power 2018, they put people in place. They put the superintendents in place. They put the mayors in place. They put the town chief in place. And they started to make headways in those areas. Grand Jida, Maryland, Grand Crew, Sino, go and see.
Can you ask them some question? What headway? What a headway? They pay more roads. They get them medicine in the hospital. Grand Crew County, no drug in the hospital. Grand Crew County.
He was already pre-loved. He was already pre-loved before the election was coming.
Everybody looks for different things. Maybe one side of the country is looking for rule, and they appreciate rule. Sometimes other people, they just appreciate the fact that you are there with them, and you sit with them, and you engage them, and that you live with them. So I'm just trying to explain that's a bully pulpit of, and that's what George Weah and the CDC did, and United Party did not do. They did not. Look at even the representatives that United Party put up in those areas. They weren't even serious contenders.
Mr. Palmer, I know you will continue to your point, right? Ellen Johnson Sirleaf did extremely well in the Southeast compared to what Joseph Boakai is doing. Now, if you flip that, the CDC went into Lofa. They went into Nimba. They got 50,000 votes in Nimba. They got votes in other regions. In fact, they won Bon County. So why you think if the Unity Party had done good job in the Southeast, they could not have gotten more votes?
No, the people on our side of Liberia, the people on our side of Liberia are balanced voters. They vote for people because they vote for people because of the quality of the person and not because of the tribe. That's what the people in the north
are just tribalists. In
the Southeast, they would not vote for anybody else besides George Weah. So let's admit that.
Why?
That's a tribal reason.
No, because they love him because of how proud he made him.
Hold on, Aliu. Tipote ran. He never got 5% of the vote in the Southeast. So you can't conclude that all because.
But where he got 5%? Whereas Tipota got 5%. That's why you should look at balancing.
So because he's from the southeast, maybe he should have swept it, just as you are saying that we are sweeping it because he's from the southeast. So you can conclude. The thing about Weah is because of his economic status, and maybe the people just love him. Because Cummings is from Maryland County. Cummings is from Maryland County. Cummings is from Maryland County. One who have thought that at least you have won Maryland County.
Let me tell you this. John Weah got more vote in total outside of the southeast, even in the northern region, than he did in the entire southeast.
Exactly.
That is because people on this side are better when it comes to this ethnicity than the southeast.
You really want to say
people like
that, man.
You talk about the PhD. That man. Yeah.
Did you hear yourself that the others?
I meant what I said.
That's why you said they are better.
If JMB uses
that's why we need to push back on his rhetoric, Mr. C. Those of us from the South, we need to push back on it. We need to push back on it. They spread
They are much better voters. They are better balanced. They respect people on an individual basis compared to the people in the Southeast. If you look at from the South from 2005.
Aliu, the Unity Party, they are surrogates on this platform. Let me call one name. George Lobo is one person that said that repeatedly. Many of them said we don't need the Southeast. Nimba County will swallow everything. There
was a reason why they said that. They said that because they already knew they were not going to win the Southeast.
Oh, no.
Who will be going to election? Who will be going to election and say, I don't need this guy? The point was they knew they were going to lose the Southeast. We will lose the Southeast. Let's not pretend. Let's put all the caterpillar in the Southeast and everything in the Southeast. Use George Weah. We'll lose the Southeast.
George Weah didn't think he was going to lose Lofa. He went there and campaigned, even though he lost, but he gained. He went there and campaigned. You guys just let the people from the Southeast, so you hate the people from the Southeast. You hate the people from the Southeast. That's why you didn't even go there. So show them anything.
Stop. George Weah got what he did because of Lofia that went there to fight for him. That's why he got what he got.
Yeah, Jerry, your turn. Jerry, your turn. We want you to come in here. This whole
I'm surprised,
Southeast
that's fine.
Thing,
I don't care.
The Southeast voted for Weah all because he's Southeast. We've had people there. They never voted for him. Weah is not from the north, but he campaigned. The CDC, Tomo Fire, and all these people. I mean, CDC as a political institution went in those places. What
for
they did,
3 years.
they used the sons of those counties, right, as a political institution. There are Grand Cru or Grand Jira, all the Southeastern counties representation in Unity Party. Why couldn't they use those people from those counties
to can win
in those counties as CDC did and to get some numbers?
Mr. C, first of all, let me debunk this Southeast thing. Look at the Southeast they're talking about. So Southeast is not one tribe. You talk about Grand Cru. Okay, River G, Grand G there. You talk about Maryland County. You talk about Grand Cru. So you cannot put all these people in one basket and just say the Southeast is one county or one area. Like people say, I'm from Africa. Although Africa is just one little place. So you cannot say that the Southeast are travelers. Are you going to say, what's about Grand Bassa County?
Grand Bassa is not in the Southeast.
But listen, when he did win Grand Bassa County, so that debunks what you were saying.
But we didn't put Grand Bassa.
They're linguistically related to the people from the Southeast. They're Cross-speaking people.
He did win Grand Bassa County. He did win Bon County. And let me tell you this thing here. In Liberia, we say, if the house doesn't sell you, the streets wouldn't buy you. Joseph Boakai was born and raised in Foya. Foya rejected him. He lost in Foya in his own hometown, in his birthplace. He lost the people of Foya. Said they don't want Joseph Boakai. You can have him. They threw him away. If I am from Grand Bassa County, if I were running for president in Bassa, people say, we don't want Jerome Gamer. It says a lot about who I am. Foya said they did not want Joseph Boakai. Joseph Boakai lost in a landslide in Foya for the second time.
But Mr. Gaiman, the people of your county, Grand Bassa, rejected Charlene too. Are you saying that it's more about who Charlene is?
No, so this is what we are saying. It's not about tribalism. That debunks about it, because if it were tribalism, we would have voted for Charlene. There's more to it than just the tribe.
No, they're not true. If Charlene was a Bassa woman, yeah, you would have voted for Charlene.
So who is
But
Charlene?
you didn't vote for Charlene.
Who
You
is
didn't vote for
Charlene?
Charlene because she was not Bassa woman.
So who is she?
I don't know.
So then, how you say she's
How
not
you know that
Bassa?
she's not Bassa?
Charlene
She
is
gotta
not
be
a
something
Bassa
to not
woman.
be Bassa. So
So
what
who
that
is
is?
she?
Tell
Is
us.
she not Bassa? Who is she?
She's not Bassa woman.
You
That's
say
what
you grew up in Bassa. You claiming you're Bassa.
I'm not Bassa man.
No, you
I'm
say
not
you
Bassa
grew
man.
up in a place and we accept you. Even the Fadiga brother, the
Yeah,
one of them over there, they were born there and they claim to be Bassa, and we agree. Bassa is homogeneous. We are. You got Fantin people, Mandingo people, Gola people. Bassa people got it all.
They say Gola. Put a list on a pig instead of pig.
Listen,
Jerome,
man,
please end your thoughts.
this is
Ali is off point today.
Ali, your thinking is so divisive that you don't want to give Joe Weah credit for the work he did in your territory that he went into Bapulu. Look how close it was in Bapulu. The difference, I think, like 770 votes in your hometown. In Cape Mount, the difference, the 304 votes, the difference.
Yeah, let me give you the figure for Bapulu. President Weah got 15,247 votes, which is 40%. Joseph Boakai got 16,000 votes, 44%. So the margin is just 4% different.
That's correct. Same thing in Cape Mount. What's the number in Cape Mount? Their stronghold. What's the number in Cape Mount?
Cape Mount, Joseph Boakai got 25,000. President Weah got 25,000. 42%, 41%.
Look at that. In your own stronghold. So you don't want to give President Weah credit for the work that they did. They ran a 15 county operation, and somebody said the president had not gone to the south. You forgot that every year the president does his county tour, that he went to all of these places. In fact,
no, Jerome, it's not every year. It's not every year.
Not every year, but he went to Grand. You saw when he did his 50 county tour, when he running with Fodati Kofa. That was part of our campaign video. Everywhere you go, the man visited every county.
In the last 6 years, he went to Grand twice. So yeah,
that's correct.
But imagine, and you think if Joseph Boakai for the last 5 years, if he has at least taken maybe 2 of those 5 years to tour the entire country, would that have made a difference for him? Because Cummings did, and yeah, his Cummings reduced from 7% to 1.6%.
Remember, he was there for 12 years also.
I think, Mr. Sear,
yes,
these numbers, right? Yeah, much as we required, this number does not, really state the reason why we reached this number. We're going to get to the bottom of this, and the Liberian people have an opportunity to see it. However, let me speak to the tribal thing here.
After the elections are over, then you'll be litigating what happened?
Yeah, we were still litigating.
It's still important.
Yeah. So let me say this with Mr. Sear. Let me chime in on the whole tribal thing. For me, personally, it scares me when hierarchy within the Unity Party beat the tribal on drum. The very first interview when Jeremiah Kuhn was nominated to be the vice senator to JNB, his very first interview was this same tribal thing. We played a video here where he said, the Nimbayan children were being trucked to Buchanan, and they were being sold for Father Dokwen. When we know 1990, there was no such thing called Dokwen. The second time, he had an opportunity again to have national interview. He played that same tribal card. Listen, man. Look, you're not going to be president or vice president of half of the country. You're going to be president of the entire country. And out of these instances, we never heard Joseph Boakai condemning these things. It's very scary. When the people in the southeastern region voted for the president overwhelmingly like they have done before and they continue to do, it is a challenge to you who wants to represent the country to make a pitch to them. Not to put it in the box and stereotype them, not to call them names, not to insult them and denigrate them. You're not the one looking for the presidency. They are not. So they will relate to a person who empathize. Let me end with this. When the Unity Party were in leadership, and in first term and second term, they arrested 25 of our brothers. that spent up to 13 years in jail. Who freed them on a pro bono level? Tawan Gonglu represented them on a pro bono level. Since then, the Joseph Yuma Boakai have not been to Grand Jide to speak to these people and talk to them and say, listen, what happened is behind us. How do you expect the people to grab it? Then you bring in Prince Johnson behind you? They will stay with George Weah, who they know. Even though I don't support George Weah, but I can't question their vote. Guess what Grand Jide did this time around? They brought in individual who was stand up for them in the House of Representatives and the House of Senate. They voted out people who they thought that was not speaking for them. Because this kind of thing that Aliyu Kamara is beating your chest on here, or the people in the Southeast, they are not up there, they're this, they're like that. Look, a Liberian is a Liberian, regardless of where they're from. And if you're supporting a national candidate, you gotta be willing to reach out to every person in Liberia. When you start putting people in group and putting, that's
can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question? Taiwan went all over the Southeast until all his cars spoiled. We all voted for him.
We respect Taiwan. Right now, when you ask Taiwan, he needs putting you. That's a crowd.
Y'all voted for him.
Listen, let me say
the
this.
people welcome him. They may not have voted for him in masses, but they welcome him. Prince Johnson is afraid to step forward in Grand Jide. Prince Johnson is afraid to step forward in Grand Jide.
It was poorly. Taiwan going to slaughter a cow.
No.
Let me tell you this.
You know who the Crown people love to marry? They love to marry Geo people and Crew people. So it's not a hatred between the people of Grand Jide and everybody that from Nima. It's not true. They don't like Prince Johnson because he's a murderer. They don't like him. They don't hate everybody from Nima. I'm a crime man. My partner is half from Nima. So it's not about hatred. So don't feel that picture that the people from Grand Jide.
Mr. Morris, please. It's time for and I think Aliyu question he asks is valid, right? Because even Joseph Boakai did not go to Nimba County, Grand Jide County, and that's the point I was trying to raise, right, for you guys to debate. Joseph Boakai got 4,000. Tiawan Gonglo, who went there twice, who they even gave name, according to my friend Anthony here. You know how many votes he got? 290. 290. Joseph Boakai wouldn't step forward, got 4,000. So again, I'm making this point to say that this thing is not necessarily about tribe. Because if Joseph Boakai wouldn't step forward can get more, are you saying that the Grand Jide people, they are more close to Joseph Boakai in terms of tribe about they getting 4,000?
It's a base of party.
290.
The party has a grand
The Unity Party under Elin got more votes in the southeastern region than Boakai. Because the Unity Party have a footprint in the entire southeastern region.
That is correct.
All right. So when we're speaking on these things, we gotta be very,
Ellen Johnson is a Crew woman as well. Her mother, Majua, is from Grand Crew.
Oh, no. Stop it. That's not true. That's not true. Stop that.
That is a fact.
Stop that.
That is a fact.
Ellen Johnson said
her mother, Majua, was a Crew woman.
Her mom is half Crew.
The mom is Crew.
So what that has to do?
Well, all right. Jerry wanted to make a point.
She's also from the southeast.
So why can't you for her?
I said she also from the southeast. I just said that.
Oh man. And where
not
the
because
other
she's from the southeast. Let me get said this, right?
The other half is Gola.
Ellen was a great politician. Ellen knew how to reach out to individuals, how to run campaign. She was a better politician than Boakai. I'll tell you that. Right?
That's all right.
She was a better politician than Boakai. However, when you come
and she built a correlation of all the tribes. She had every tribe correlating around her.
So let our CDC now. Let our Joe Weah. Did he do the same?
Yeah, the people from Lofa is a part of the CDC structure very, very, very well. The two highest people, the two highest ranking people in the CDC party is from Lofa.
Oh, the
Moba and Koji.
Jefferson Koji.
Yeah,
Secretary
you had Natana McGill, who was perhaps the second most powerful person in Joe Weah cabinet, was from Bon County.
Yeah, the
Apollo,
party.
actually.
The vice president for Boakai also. Before he got kicked out of the government for being corrupt.
Let me just say
Yeah,
this, right?
in the
We need to
party.
stop this travel thing.
Yeah.
In Liberia,
Please, one at a time, gentlemen. Anthony, and your thought there, please.
yeah, in Liberia, it's a Liberian. Let's stop the travel big thing, right? A Liberian is a Liberian. Yeah, much that everyone all know that tribes in Liberia, each one of all belong to a tribe, except for a very fragment of the people who does not have a tribe called the American Liberian or Congo people, as we call them in Liberia. But I mean, we all are Liberian. Your passport does not have your tribe; it has your nationality, and we should learn how to conduct ourselves in this manner. We cannot live in civilized world, be educated by civilized people, and still behave this way we're behaving.
Thank you. Thank you.
I disagree. Can I push back for 30 seconds, please, Mr. Sear?
Please.
The reality of our country is not that we're colorblind, like I said, that they can say in America, or tribal blind. I think President Weah, one of his biggest mistakes, and he has to try to rectify this now. I would tell him that. Joseph Boakai has been going out with what is somewhat of an effective message of inclusion. Although we know in his personal dealings he's not very inclusive,
He's not.
but I think President Weah should hijack that message and flip this thing around and preach the message of more inclusion in his government. Bring people from Lofa to be in the cabinet, although they are prominent in the CDC party. Bring more people from Nimba, outside of Prince Johnson influence, to be a part of his cabinet. Bring more people from the Birmingham and the Cape Mount and other places to be more, a part of his cabinet. If he does that and he make that message to those people and tell them that he will bring their sons and daughters to be more, inclusive in his government, I think that would be a great message for him. But Joseph Boakai, he's just doing it because the people, for the Southeast telling to be more inclusive. But normally that was not even what he was preaching. Earlier in this campaign, he was never preaching inclusivity. He was saying, all the people from the Southeast that didn't want to dominate the government will get it, will be out.
Thank you. And gentlemen, our final point here is this whole issue of lesser of two evils, right? And every election, or in most elections, they say, well, we're going with the lesser of two evils. Now we have the CDC that has been in power for going to 6 years now, and our people have been facing the worst human conditions that you can imagine. Hospitals out of drugs, while the president dances buka, and lavish trips, to where we spent $25,000. The president will be gone for 30 days. He would take a delegation of 100 to Moscow, and our people. I mean, I can go on and on, right? And there are a lot of things they could be doing with the money spent. And we all can agree the economy is bad and our people are catching hell, right? So that is the devil there. And then you have the Unity Party before the CDC that had it for 12 years. They had all the support. It's like they have given them money to cook cattle greens for the Liberian people, and they cook dry rare with mwemwe. And so they got rejected. So Liberians now are facing a decision to decide between these two. Based on what you know, who is the lesser of the two evils that the Liberian people will choose? And will the lesser evil be the winner? Who is that lesser evil? Aliu, you're smiling. Let's go. You be the first.
No. With drawing my mug out water. You know what I mean? when you fill that thing with a little sun slipper tree and put red palm on it, that's easy. But look, there's only one evil here. There's no lesser or two evil. When you have two, that's when you compare. There's only one evil in Nigeria. This is a man, and let me tell you something on this platform here. I am a lover, and I'm sure 90% of Liberians are, of George Weah. George Weah, the individual George Weah before 2017 election. That love never goes away. George Weah as a man, just ordinary man, football player, is one of the most wonderful things that has ever happened to Liberia. George Weah, the president, is the most ridiculous thing in the entire Liberian history, other than the Civil War. If you give George Weah another 6 years, Liberia will only plummet. It's like a 747 a jet above 40,000 feet above sea level. Is diving directly with the nose down, coming down 700 miles per hour. That's how George Weah is going to be in a second round. George Weah has a good heart, but does not have the technical know-how. In order to supervise people, you must have vision and you must have
Ali,
direction.
hold on there. How good of a heart he has when he has a man's worth in the twinkle of an eye, when he was elected by hungry, tired, and weary people in Clara Town, Gibraltar, where his grandmother reared him. They stole money from the finance ministry, and they said that was the president's personal project. What happened? The people are living in the swamp, and they just went and changed the zinc on the zinc shaft. That's the best he could do, and he said that good heart. So tell me about the good heart he has.
Let me explain to you. Prior to the 2017 election, that George Weah is who I declare as someone with good heart. I was in Liberia in 1990, before 1996, 1994. We had preliminary to qualify for the 1996 African Cup of Nations in South Africa, to go play Bafana. When George Weah was chapter playing, buy brand new jersey, brand new boots for all of Lone Star players, and fly them to South Africa, put them in hotel, and fly them back to Liberia. I'm not telling you, somebody said. Quote me. This is a George Weah that will form GM professional because he was busy with AC Milan. He had over 30 players on that team. And George Weah he had no other option but to dissolve the team. George Weah decided he would not dissolve that team without compensating each and every player, even though the team was not making money. George Weah gave each person a vehicle and a lump sum amount of money. Don't say somebody say. George Weah said, Ali, say. Isn't that somebody with good heart? When it comes to the executive matter, don't you know that
how we're doing now with Lone Star? The Lone Star are mayhem.
I'm coming. No, everybody contribute in that area. If you ask Ellis Comey, he contributed. If you ask Joe Boakai, he contributed in civil service. If every individual in this race contributed some way, somehow, George Weah was not just some kind of man in Liberia. I am saying when it comes, do you know that Samuel Doe, prior to 1982, you know Samuel Doe was one of the most wonderful people in his neighborhood? Everybody should love Doe. Everybody should call him Sam. When it comes to the presidency, you are surrounded by people that turns you into a demigod, and if you're not strong mentally, you fall. Now, not everybody failure, not all failure you hold people directly fall. What we are saying is we can do George Weah a favor to get him out of this thing because this is not his character. He has been surrounded by sycophants and people who know better than him, academically speaking, and therefore they are plummeting him and his character. They fight that George Weah
is a boy. You think George Weah is a boy? This is a man we're talking about.
You know what I'm saying, man. You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. Okay. This man. All right. This George Weah. What George Weah is doing right now is not just to be president. George Weah is fighting for his legacy. He wants to rebuild what he has destroyed over the last 6 years, which will not stay work because he will still keep Samuel Tuer and he will still keep the rest of these guys around him. So to call long matters for the sake of the Liberian people, let's get George Weah out of this thing.
So again, I ask my question: who is the lesser of the two evils?
I said there's no two evils. There's one.
Is the Unity Party?
But you're talking about man who has a good heart. You're talking about evil man with an evil heart. You're just talking about the bad people surrounding him. But he's not evil.
All right. Let me leave it there. Anthony Gay, I saw you anxious to speak. We're talking about the lesser of two evil scenario thing with Liberian people. Well, we're going with the lesser of two evil. Do you see two evils here? And is there a lesser one? It seems to be you are muted. Oh, he's not muted, but we can't hear his voice. We can't hear you, Anthony.
That's the only cable man when I get internet.
we're not hearing you, Anthony. Maybe you should leave and come back. Let me go to Michael Pamo. Mr. Pamo, this whole lesser of two evil. Do we have a lesser of two evil of the two that we have here?
No, I think both of them are equally evil. I'm sorry. You know, that's
The Tiawan Gonglo people said there's a 6 years rule and a 12 years rule. Which one is the greater rule and which one is the lesser rule?
Well, I mean, 6 years, of course, is a lesser, but I don't know from where he spoke. So because when you really look at it, will Joseph Boakai run for 12 years? Come on now, it's highly unlikely. You know, of course, he will have a young person coming behind him who will be seen as the incumbent, and will have that leverage and the bully pulpit and the resources of the government. But likewise, you will have Joel Howard Taylor, who is a seasoned politician, right, coming behind George Weah with 12 years behind her, and with the bully pulpit and with the money that comes with it, if she's able to hang on and bring together CDC behind her. So either way, we're looking at 12 years from both perspectives. But I will say this, you know, there are only a few things that you can point out that CDC has done in 6 years that United Party did not do when they were there. I hear people talking about mysterious killing. Have we forgotten about Harry Greaves?
That's one.
Can you hear me?
You know what I'm saying? Have we forgotten about what the other
Allison, Michael, Malik, yeah, Allison.
Have we forgotten about that? Come on now, you know. Have we forgotten that the 16 billion that we are talking about, the first container that arrived before inauguration day? People don't know that.
There we go. Mr. Famo, thank you for saying that. It was Honor United Party. Thank you again. I said it here before.
What has CDC done that United Party did not do?
You audit. If United Party still continue money, you go arrest them. You are a government.
They arrested them. They arrested Charles Saliba and Weeks. They put him in jail.
Anthony, please tell the people to give me a chance.
What happened to Noka?
Give Pablo his turn, please. He respected others' turn. Please go ahead, Mr. Pablo.
When we are speaking on the lesser of two evil, I think both of them are equally evil. And this is the struggle that the Liberian people are having. And where do you see this struggle magnified? Is when you look at the amount of people that ran on independent tickets and won. The number of people that won on independent tickets. People who were associated even with these parties during the last 6 years. When it was time to run for office, they moved their hand. Pastor Garfield moved hand. He started running independent and baking you up. Momo Cyrus from Lofa. Why did he run United Party ticket? Why did he run CDC ticket? He said, no, I'll run independent. And they won. It says a lot about where the Liberian people are and how the Liberian people look at these two people. And you know, and that's why it is. They are both evil. I mean, we can hope and pray that, look, there are certain things that CDC has, the money that was in the country before, not in the country anymore. The money that Ellen was able to bring into the country, CDC has not been able to bring into the country. So the suffering of the Liberian people have increased. Will Joseph Boakai be able to bring this money without Ellen? That is not proving. We might just end up seeing the same 6 and 7 from the two.
So no lesser of the two evil?
They both of them are evil. They've done the same things to the Liberian people. And as a matter of fact, so far CDC has not bankrupted any government institution yet. So let's add that one to United Party further on the camp. You know, so that's how I see it. I believe they are both evil. I believe that Joseph Boakai has not done enough to distance himself from that United Party. He has shown signs of the same, and Liberian people are repulsed by it. They are.
Thank you, Mr. Pablo. Evans, let's have two evil.
Thank you, Mr. C. I would not use the word evil because evil is somebody who lacks any semblance of goodness. So I will not say they're evil. I will almost agree entirely with Mr. Kamara. I will almost agree with him entirely. I think President Weah's biggest weakness is the fact that although he has the degrees, but at least for some of us on the outside looking in, he is not an intellectual. He's not a man who can really ingest, digest, and then implement the information that he just took in. He's not one of those people. I think his biggest downfall, the people that he surrounds himself with, it's time for a reshuffle. Ellis Johnson did it in her government. President Weah needs to do it. Find more competent people. If you have to come to these United States and look for more competent people because you don't want to take it for the United Party people, fine, but find more competent people that can do the job. He wasn't gonna be going in there as some kind of intellect who had all of the wherewithal to run a government. We know that he was limited in that capacity. But when it comes to the heart, Mr. C, President, we did something Ellen Johnson never did. He went to Grand Coup County. He built homes. Though it's not thousands of homes, but he did those things as a gesture to show the people that you're living in the deplorable conditions. I want to give you a better life. He did those things. Can he maintain it? Of course not. It takes a lot of money to build homes in all of the different counties and to continue to maintain it. And Mr. Patmore said one thing: the money that Ellen Johnson leaving the Unity Party got initially in the first term and second term, it's not coming back to Liberia. That money came and it was and Joe we had it, didn't eat it. The CDC government, they didn't steal that money. Where all that money went at? The billions that were received on a Unity Party. That's why the 12-year rule, like Councilor Bongo said, is greater than the 6-year rule. Not even because of the years by itself, but because of the influx of cash that the 12-year rule saw under their regime. And they stole all of it. And now they're coming back hungry after this. Most of them squandered their own part that they took from it. They're coming back hungry to ride on Joseph Boakai coattails to come and steal more again. So the problem in our country on both ends is corruption. They're both corrupt. But when it comes to culpability, I think the Unity Party is more culpable in their corruption because they pay more the country money for a longer period of time. So they're more culpable when it comes to corruption. But I think President Weah needs to surround himself more with more competent people and then make his government more inclusive. I think that will give him a second round and will maybe cement kind of cement over his legacy in some of the flaws that he had in his first term to help him. Thank you.
You say you will, stay away from the war evil, and
Yeah.
I don't know why you are trying to stay away from that. So let me give you something. CDC came to power. This is a school in Riverside. You see it?
Yeah, I see it.
Liberian student dropping out of school in Riverside due to lack of teachers. That is Riverside County. Nathaniel McGill was Minister of Presidential Affairs. His mother died. Can you recognize this image?
Yeah, that's his mother's mausoleum.
How much he spent to build this? This is a dead mother's grave. Nathaniel McGill did this. President Weah had no word to utter. He attended the burial. He attended that. And you think that is not evil?
I don't think it's evil. I think
it's not evil. Yeah, they say where a man's heart is, where he spent his money at, right? So maybe he was trying to show affection to his mother, that he loved his mother so much he would spare no cost to give her a befitting resting place. But the fact that he was a public servant at the time, it makes it look bad. There are wealthy people who are not public servants who build big mausoleums for their loved ones. So once he got in that position, he had the money. He thought he could show affection to his mother in that way.
You're talking about Joe Weah. You're talking about Joe Weah. Joe Weah should have said something.
No, not talking about McGill was the one that built the mausoleum, not George Weah. George Weah didn't build that mausoleum for Nathaniel McGill's mother.
We are appointed McGill, and McGill did this embarrassing
thing.
Yeah,
McGill is evil, so we are ignorant.
Nothing to say. All right, Anthony, I will bring you in. Lesser of two evil situation that we are in this country. Liberian people always picking the lesser of two evil as though the evil being lesser makes it good for Liberia. Your take, and how can the lesser of two evil win? Will the lesser of two evil win? Hey, Anthony, your voice gone again. I don't know. You
Thank God.
You work for a technical. Now I think I heard you. Go ahead. Oh no, I'm not hearing you.
Thank God.
Yeah. Please leave and come back.
You're talking about evil. You're talking about evil. One city right here.
Reduce the CDC number.
Mr. Goodman, the whole lesser of two evil situation that we always talk about.
Okay.
Do we have a lesser of two evil situation here?
Okay, let me just pull out the facts so we can tell whether one is evil or not. President Weah, in 6 years, we built the 100-bedroom in the Emory Hospital. We built a 14 military hospital, the LPRC headquarters, the NSA headquarters, the PHP Coastal Defense and Sports Park, Riverside District Hospital in Jiria Town, Samuel K. Doe, the hospital in Grand Jiria, okay? The National Port Authority headquarters, the Liberia Maritime headquarters, the National Fishery and Aquaculture Facility, Liberia Football Association headquarters, the Judicial Complex Court in Riverside County, the Foya City Hall in Foya County, the Security Barracks. I'm leader at Yekepa, Liberia, or Guinea border. The Central Bank of Liberia sub-offices in Bangabon County, the Executive Marshal completion, the upgrade of the FKD Stadium. The
Executive Marshal completion? Yeah, but
the timber factory in Grand Bassa County. The housing units were built in Grand Bassa for women. The husband died in the war. The Nukutan housing unit, the Nukutan coastal defense, the Johnsonville Road pavement, the Sunny Kwale Ganta Highway.
Who sent you that list? Is it a CDC list?
Listen,
yeah,
the Banjo Road, District 17, I'm limited. The Lo-Fi Electricity Project, the Western Sports Complex, the Claratown Place, the Invincible Sports Park. I'm naming it is so long. If this is what you call evil,
so propaganda.
This man brought in free wires, free university, 25 doctors to specialize. This man built. You remember a few years ago, under the Ellen Johnson Boakai company, women that had baby were arrested in JFK for not paying.
It happens. It still happens.
Listen, for not paying their fees. And we had to raise money here to do that. Joseph Boakai said he was president of the Senate and he masterminded everything. He said he was nuanced. And we had 66 of 68 concession agreement, Grand Bassa County. We have BRE that came in, took everything, took the money, and then they left. We have people that honor Joseph Boakai and the UP. They took the Exxon Mobil, they sold all the oil block. You heard they sold them and they flipped them. You saw Noka. Noka went bankrupt. My people, it is the difference between the people. It broad daylight. Liberia, for the first time, we have introduced park and recreation system where we got parks.
Mr. Gitman, I like that you listed things that you believe the CDC has been able to do.
I don't believe
the Unity Party did things for Liberia too when they were in power. Do you care to name some just as you naming yours?
Listen, you expect me to draw the team for the opposition? Yeah. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why Unity Party did.
But be fair.
Unity Party bankrupted Noka. Unity Party incarcerated Grangians. Unity Party has $17.5 billion. They squander it. Not me. Joseph Boakai said it.
I'll be honest.
Joseph Boakai said, listen, I'm speaking factually. Joseph Boakai said, we squandered. That's not me. Joseph Boakai was honest to say we squandered.
Thank you, Mr. Gitman. Aliu, I will give you a minute to respond because Anthony gave, so to speak, but he's not here. He's having issues.
He said that me expecting you to come tweet opposition hard over forget it. Oh man, you made me laugh something at the checking that from my eye, man. Look. and that was a very honest answer that man gave you, Anthony. I wouldn't do it either. But listen, all that the man saying, you must say no. That means give me error here. Give him 2 things on the list. He will list the 38. So I will not waste my time on here. Go to the next one. Oh man.
Ali can't even speak. So we will take a short break. So Ali can adjust himself. When we come back, we will continue with the broadcast.
I want
Liberians, God gave us this country.
No
Let's
problem.
see our differences and diversity as strength to focus on the things that matter for our country. Ali Kamara, you heard Goodman. He said, your side is the evil. What you say?
If Mr. Gibbon know that he can list 2 people in Liberia who were killed under mysterious circumstances, but he know that we can list more than 20 under his administration. I don't know 2 and 20 which one is more evil than the other. But the thing when I hear people say, "Oh, Ellen did this and Ellen did that and Ellen did it," and then the people decided, you know what, we're bringing George Weah to come and clean what Ellen did. What did George Weah do? Made it even worse. But people still mentioning Ellen. Remember, Ellen took over a government that only had $80 million economy.
Yeah.
$80 million. 80 million. A reserve of very few dollars. This is a woman who will build an economy from 80 million to almost 600 billion. You say Ellen,
She didn't build it from
Ellen
scratch. She didn't build it from scratch. She got a lot of influx of international help.
Mentor back. Go ahead, flow, yeah, flow.
Thank you very much. If I begin innocent to the we can get joints and just start talking to me. But let me tell you this. When we were I know you were there, but you're much younger. When Ellen took over that country, took over from Judy Bryant, what Ellen did through this very Taiwan Gonglo, they arrested Judy Bryant, who was a head of state. Judy Bryant ended up being locked up for corruption. What did George Weah do when he took over? He gave Ellen 80% and decided he would protect Ellen. For people who support the CDC to be Baham Muffin United Party, it's very ironic. But you think about some of the things that United Party did. United Party had to revamp the health sector. All of the different government clinics around the country in the world were either burned down or vandalized. Ellen had to renovate some of those buildings and rebuild newer ones. Ellen had to equip the medical facilities, and Nimba County was one of those places. In fact, my family member had hepatitis C and B. They went to Nimba County for treatment. They didn't have to go to Ghana under Ellen administration. Do you understand what I'm saying? JFK had medication, may not have been up to the standard, but it had a foundation that Ellen had put there. Right now, as we speak, there are 2 baby man to a bed. My woman is a nurse. She goes in there all the time. 2 baby man to a bed at JFK. They will not let that under Ellen. So what's happening is the country is going backward. The only road Ellen left that she didn't touch from Monrovia going out of Monrovia was the road that goes to Cape Mount. Guess what George Weah did? When I went to Monrovia in 2016, I drove from Monrovia to Sierra Leone on that quota, paved road, a very low car, straight to Sierra Leone. Now my car none of my cars can go on that road under George Weah. So George Weah, he started the engine program, he plugged it straight in arrow. So for you to be talking about, oh, Ellen, doing Ellen time this happened, doing Ellen time that happened, continue our money came, doing Ellen time before George Weah, what do you do as a government? You still have the statutory mandate. You still have the constitutional mandate. You say you arrested people for corruption. You try them, you release them, and you come back and say, Ellen did it. You and Ellen, who did it? You did it. That's why you take over. When you take over from the government, you repair the damages and you expand upon the good. You don't add to the damages and destroy the good ones. And that's what you did.
Thank you, Mr. Kamara.
There's one thing you're missing, Mr. Kamara, is the lack of resources, the depletion of all the resources that Ellen was working with. It wasn't through her ingenuity that she was able to raise those resources. It was from donor money that she was doing all those work. And those donor money are dried up. So the president is limited when it comes to resources. So you can't hold both of them at the same time.
It's Anthony Gay's time. Mr. Gay, Mr. Gay, I don't know why you've been, I don't know what's stopping your audio there from commenting on this lesser of 2 evil. Go ahead.
It sabotaged the man. You saw what he said, thank God he's gone.
Yeah.
That mama won't be better. You know, I don't want any side today, but here's the thing, Mr. CS. Listen, man. When you talk about lesser or 2 evil, and my dear brother Elvin tried to put a spin and say, I don't want to use the word evil. Corruption is more than a person stealing 1 bag of rice from your house. Corruption has an impact on so many different aspects. Because government did not build that school in Riverside, those children's future is in jeopardy. Things that they should have done for themselves or the children to come tomorrow, they won't be able to do it because they don't have it. We didn't have the opportunity to have come to a developed world like the United States and other developed countries. Guess what? Our children in good schools. They have
Cause and effect is not the epitome of evil, Anthony.
I'm speaking to corruption in general. When a politician is corrupt, is for a longer generation, not just one day or 10 years. It's for 30, 40, 50 years. Up to 5 generations we're talking about here. That's what corruption does to a country. Mr. Ali, you are just talking about being able to drive from Maria strictly to Sierra Leone. Look, these parties have had opportunities. For me, both parties as corrupt as they can be. Right now, George Weah, if I were him or in his orbit, remove Samuel 12, remove Musa Dean, remove the NSA director, remove Pachesuru. These are institutions that will create the atmosphere for investors to come in. George Weah, you are a person, international figure. You may not be a politician naturally, but you need individual. How can Samuel go to the Japanese African Summit and walk away with an empty hand? Africa came back with $1.7 billion for Toyota vehicle to be a Samo in West Africa. Samuel was there. He will give you 5 minutes to do a presentation.
Africa have more infrastructure than Liberia. It couldn't be given to Liberia or Africa.
This interruption is unnecessary, man.
Right? Yeah. You cannot go to a summit and come home empty-handed. Samuel went on radio and said, "Oh, we did a map up as exercise by going to money changer in the street to map out the article methylated bill." Who does that? Where in the world? What kind of economic theory is found? People carry money in the street to change money with money changer, and today they get out 25 million, no, that's 17 million, and we don't know where the $8 million went. These things are very discouraging to any investors. Morocco today, there's so many call centers in Morocco. Can we have call centers in Liberia? Yes. Why? Liberians speak good English. But we cannot have a call center in Liberia today because no reliable source of power. You can't run the people call center on generator. You cannot. Right. So this is the thing.
So you are saying corruption is evil, right?
Corruption is evil because it has so many different effects on people's lives. Look at
the two parties, Unity Party and CDC, are they both guilty, and who is less guilty?
They are both guilty. And so what they need to be telling us now is that, listen, we did wrong in the past. Accept the wrong.
Who is less guilty?
Present an argument to say, oh, listen, we will do better going forward. Right?
Who is less guilty of corruption?
You didn't do anything wrong. You accept you did something wrong. That's why the people rejected you in 2017.
Who is less guilty of corruption? Unity Party and CDC.
Both of them, in my opinion.
John Molu said that Joseph Boakai was more corrupt, 3 times more corrupt than Brian.
Let's say this, right?
He said Joseph Boakai and
Mr. Sia, you agree with me? You yourself have a show. One of your own self, nobody joined you down there. You have a show where you catalog the amount of money that Liberia received under the Unity Party administration.
How much money Liberia received?
Hold on now. Give you what they receive, for what they perform, you deem it as bad performance as ever because of the amount of money. George Weah may have not received enough money, but George Weah also created a bad circumstance, building all these condominiums, making sure that the Liberian people don't receive salary on time. Do you know what it is for somebody to go to work for 1 month and still don't get paid?
I know. Nancy protesting for pay, and they threaten them that if you don't go back to work, I mean, you'll be out of job.
Are wrong. Nobody should sit there and pretend.
Thank
George Weah, if you want to retain your seat, reach out to Tawan Gonglo, reach out to Communist. Communist will serve your Minister of Finance for free. Will say, I don't want money. But you must follow the rules that he put in place. Are you willing to follow that rules that you say, let's see, you're not taking a penny from here? Will you hire Tawan Gonglo to be the Minister of Justice of Liberia?
Thank you.
To uphold the law and bring people to book? So Nathaniel Mangere are passing around today, who not supposed to be elected, are elected now. They were sanctioned.
Thank you.
I mean, if you're
Thank
serious
you, Mr. Gay.
those things, they will
Thank
know
you,
that you
because
love the country.
Thank you, Mr. Gay. Because of time, gentlemen, we have to conclude. And the question that will conclude the discussion here is, what would be the magic to winning the second round for Boakai and for President Weah? What does the Unity Party must do? If there's one thing that they must do, what must it be for them to win, each of them? And let us start with Mr. Palmer. It seems to be he's ready to go.
Yes, thank you so much. So first I will start with Weah. What President Weah needs to do to remain in his seat, the first thing is that do no harm. If you notice, the CDC has refrained from attacking other parties. They've been very disciplined. Even though CPP attacked them, they don't attack CPP. They've just let it go. That's the first thing. The second thing, they need to spend the resources that need to be done to get people out to vote. The third thing is that President Weah needs to reach out to the people of Liberia. One of the biggest points that Liberian people get against Weah is he does not engage the Liberian people. Between now and election day, George Weah needs to engage the Liberian people, talk to them one-on-one, on a personal note, and make some promises to them on how things are going to be improved, how things are going to be different. The Liberian people will listen to him. They will be shocked, they will be surprised, but they will listen to him. And he will garner support that he never had before. When it comes to Joseph Boakai, look, Joseph Boakai does not have to reinvent the wheel. In 2019, the Liberian people told the opposition what they wanted. They wanted a united opposition. A united opposition is the only thing that can defeat CDC. Joseph Boakai needs to unite the opposition. Joseph Boakai needs to reach out to Boezenga Finlay and Charlene Bromsky in Basel and bring them together with Yombli and show their united force. Joseph Boakai needs to reach out to other people, Tier 1 Gonglo in Nima, and bring him in. Look, if you offer Tier 1 Gonglo or LACC position and empower him with the resources, Tier 1 will not turn it down. He will take it. And can you imagine Joseph Boakai and Tier 1 Gonglo on one stage together, talking to the people at Nima? He will win Nima. The same thing with Bassa. The same thing with Mark Gibby. Joseph Boakai needs to unite the opposition. If Joseph Boakai cannot unite the opposition, if Joseph Boakai believes that the people will vote for him only because they don't want Weah, Joseph Boakai will lose these elections. And so those are the magic key for the both of them. Can they do it? I'm in the ANC camp, and I'm telling you, I still have yet to see it. And we only have 8 days to go. I still have yet to see it.
Thank you, Mr. Palmot. Aleo, with barely 2 weeks left to the election, what must Unity Party and Joseph Boakai do to win? And what must CDC do to win?
Well, I wouldn't help the CDC, but what I would tell you here is whatever the Unity Party needs to do to win, the Unity Party is doing it. The Unity Party have been engaging. I agree with Palmo that Joseph Boakai as the most permanent or eminent statesman needs to figure out a way to unite these oppositions behind the Unity Party, because we're going to need this opposition. I'm not talking about winning. I'm talking about afterward. Look at the kind of people who are in the opposition. Ellis Cummings, Telman Gonglo, or the young man, or how you call him, Moneybag.
Yeah.
All of these people have something to bring to the table. These are all people with diligence. So if you're not united during these times, even after you shall have won these elections, you can't be united then. So this is a time to put everybody together who is a stakeholder, who can actually, I'm looking beyond just winning the election. But what United Party needs to do to win this election, there were problems in Bapulu. All of the bordering counties, there were problems. The only place in that region that Georgia actually won, that Georgia actually did well, fair and square, was in Tubman-Burr, was in Bombing. But Bapulu, Grand Cape Mount, and Lofa County, we know what happened. We know what happened in those places. And what Joseph Boakai needs to do to win this election, we have to close those things so that they cannot be repeated. And we also saw our weaknesses in central Liberia. George Weah, the 7,000 plus that he got, or close to that he got overall, came from Bon County and Grand Bassa County. And we're working on closing that loop. So the technicians are doing their job.
And anything that United Party going to do on War Room and
the War Room will be active. The War Room will be active. This time around, the United Party has vowed to not necessarily release the tally sheets, but results will be released before even the National Election Commission can release their results.
Release it before, we don't care. I don't mean it's official. Your word is not the word of the NBC.
Evan Morris, what must the Unity Party and Joseph Boakai do at this time? Just less than 2 weeks to go. What President Weah and the CDC must do to win?
Yeah, first I will start with President Weah. And I think this is where the ace, the political ace for the CDC comes into play. It will be Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. She can't do it openly because of that money she got from Mo Ibrahim to say that she's going to stay out of politics, since she's old, she's her elderly age. But I think she can do it covertly. And I think what President Weah needs to do is to go to her, the two people she has the most influence over, or even the three of them, because the other of them have worked closely with her. Moneba, who worked with her as a Minister of Presidential Affairs with our portfolio. Tawa Gonglo, who served in Ministry of Labor and the Solicitor General Honor Ellen, and Cummings, who she gave the highest honor, to in the country and is somewhat close to him. If President Weah can convince Ellen Johnson Sirleaf to get these three people to come on his side, and even before these elections are over, announce some major changes, I will concur with Mr. Anthony Gay. Say that we're going to put Mr. Alexander Cummings on top of the finance ministry of our country. He has impeccable record when it comes to finances. He did it on the biggest stage, and we want him to come here and fix our finance, our financial and economic system. That's a big gain. If he goes to Tawan Gonglo, whether it's the LACC or the Minister of Justice, and openly said that to the people of Nima, we're going to put one of your sons who has great integrity, not those people who are, morally, questionable. Bankrupt, we can say, because nobody's morally bankrupt. Everybody have some morals to them. They love their children, they love their family. But people who are morally questionable, like the Prince Johnson and the Jeremiah Khan, we're going to bring impeccable men like Tawan Gonglo to clean up our justice system. Our president, I've seen things and it haven't been the way I wanted it to be or I envisioned it, but now is the time to make the change. I'm bringing Gonglo in to clean up our ministry. And then maybe Moneba, who pretty much served as a quasi foreign minister. I don't know what would be his best position, but he's very bright. He could put him in one of these top positions. He would do very well. Bring him in. And I think like Mr. Padmore or somebody said, talk to the people. Let them know what your intentions are for the second term and how you intend to do it with these people that you're going to bring on board, who are going to take some of these ministers out of positions who are not performing, like the Twers, and the Musa Dean and the Patrick Sudus, who have not been performing up to par. If you make that clear, you will garner more votes. And then on the Boakai front, I think like everybody said, Boakai needs to galvanize the opposition around him. And I think that inclusion message that he's been preaching, that's something that hit me It was a brilliant strategy because that's something that many people have complained against President Weah, that he's not, his government, his cabinet is not very inclusive of people from other regions. And I think if Boakai harp on that, even as a political stunt, bring a shadow cabinet on the stage with him and say, this is going to be what this is how my cabinet is going to look. We have a man from Grand Jide, we have a man from Bakulu, we have a man from Sino, we have a man from, Kipma. These are going to be the people that's going to make up my cabinet. You see them, they are reflective of all region of our country. The people will say, well, we're all going to be represented. I think we were going to go, we're going to go with Joseph Boakai. So we have to see some showmanship, some political showmanship from both sides, because I think the people that they have, they're going to keep them in the second round, but they need to bring those people who are on the fringe to get them over the line. And I think if President Weah does what I say, or Vice President Boakai does that political stunt of being more inclusive, they definitely will get more votes from those people who are apprehensive about voting for them in the second round. I'll leave it there.
Anthony Gates, the neutral mayor, so he will be last. Mr. Gaiman.
Yes. Well, first of all, I listened to Mr. Padmore and I listened to Mr. Elvis here about what Joseph Boakai can do. Politics is all about trust. If I shake your hand and say gentleman's handshake, when Anthony C tells me that I'm going to do this, can he do this?
You reversing him.
Excuse me. When you look at Joseph Boakai, what he has done to Uri, what he has done to Congress, what he has done to Costa, this man does not have the gravitas and the trust for anybody, anything.
What does he need to do to win the election?
I'm telling you what he shouldn't do. But so Joseph Boakai cannot win when it comes to trust because he does not have that factor. The only thing Joseph Boakai can do now to help him out that he has not done, I mean, a bridge that should have been built in 6 years that he burned, to build it in 8 days, I find it impossible, but that's what he has to do. He has to build all of these bridges, come up with a new print, come up with a new blueprint, find an engineer, find a contractor, make sure that all this happens. If he can build the nation in 8 days, then he's in. That's what he needs to do. He needs to bring the opposition together. Is it possible to do that in 8 days? I leave that to any rational person. It will not happen. President Weah, what does President Weah need to do to bring the opposition? Just like my brother, my colleague, Mr. Gates says here, and Mr. Morris said the same thing. Ellen, in this term, she has reshuffled her cabinet to some degree. She even admitted when they asked her a couple of months ago, what was your greatest regret in your administration? She says, I wish I have not had a transitory government. That means her entire cabinet, she came to abroad and brought everybody from the States. And when time came, they all did what they had to do. They left, came back to pay their mortgages and everything else, and they left the country. That was her own words. She said transitory. So President, we have to say now, those guys that have been on the ground, like Cummings been on the ground for 6 years, he have not left. So you can tell that he's there, he's not there to run. When you look at the other opposition, that Gonglo have never left. Even when they tried to kill him, he came back and stayed. And under the right conditions, he would do well. So bringing these people together and say, you know what, guys, this is it. Those that were loyal to me, I did them well the first 6 years. It's time for us to get serious, to put this country first. Let's do it. I think on that note, it would be very easy. It would be a landslide. And I think that conversation is going on as we speak.
Thank you. Anthony, you get the last word. You're the neutral man.
I don't think it's too late for Honorable Joseph Boakai, His Excellency, to reach out and make amends to unite the opposition. One thing he continued to enjoy is that elderly statesman position. And I don't think if he picks up the phone to call any of these, political leader that we name it here, the Cummings, the Gonglu, Moniba, Lucini Kamara, the rest of the other people, I don't think any one of them will turn him down. But here's what I say to that. It's a win-win situation for him. If he pick up the phone and call them and they turn him down, it does not have any negative effect on him. At least he reach out. Politically, that's a plus for him. That's the John McCain movement I'm asking for right there. Whether or not you like John McCain, he used to call Democrat and say, hey, let's get this done. Even when the lady tried to denigrate Obama, he picked up the microphone from her hand and said, no, ma'am, he's a decent American citizen. We just have a political difference. JMB, you don't need anybody in your camp to tell you. You are the statesman, you are the oldest man in our party, and you have every power to pick up phone and just call these guys and say, let's take this thing to this finish line. When we get to the finish line, we can discuss how we run this country. But on the flip side, George Weah, you have a legacy that will live forever. BBC described you as the player of the century out of Africa. The player of the century. That's how BBC described you when they were giving you that award. Guess what? You don't want to go down with that tinted record that the most corrupt Liberian president. So what do you do now? You have an opportunity now, as we speak, for the last 7 days to go, that you can reach out and say, listen, I will reshuffle my government and I will put this individual that Liberians have already, in public opinion, who has integrity in specific institution to run our country. You do those things, if the government succeeds, guess what? Who will take the credit? Cummings not going to take the credit. Gonglo not going to take the credit. You, the president, will take that credit. But you have to muster the political will to do so. And it only takes men of courage to do so. So, listen, if you love Liberia, you will do the right thing. I don't think you're looking for money to get rich. You're already rich now. I don't think you're looking for fame. You already have the fame. I don't think you're looking for a place to travel. You have traveled the world. What will it take now to leave a brilliant legacy for yourself and your children to come tomorrow? Look at your son. He's stepping in your footsteps and getting big contracts. Do something memorable for the Liberian people. You don't want to end your career with controversy. Anytime a politician gives too much explanation, they are losing. I always say that. You don't need too much explanation as a politician. You need to do things and move on. And you have nothing to lose. These people serving in your cabinet are working at the way and pleasure of you. You can tell them to go to there, they will go. But the choice is yours. I'm just a regular Liberian citizen. I don't have that power to do anything. But I know you've been watching social media and your campaign has stopped attacking people. Move from behind the church pulpit. And you have a unique way of speaking to the Liberian people that resonate with the ordinary folks. Use that to your advantage and tell the people we're bringing in new individuals, new sheriffs in town who will run your government. If you don't do that, you have yourself a good day, sir. Your name will be tarnished for the rest of the time. Until then, I wish both of you the best. Use the opportunity that we provide here today. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. On that note, I want to say at 8 p.m. Eastern Time here at Focus on Liberia, my good friend Dennis Jai will be here with our program Between the Headlines. We have a powerful panel to discuss picking sides in the 2023 runoff election and the way forward. All ladies panel. Liberia is represented here tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and you do not want to miss it. Veteran journalist Mansa Washington, Focus on Liberia public policy expert Carl Fanulet, and we have Olive White, an entrepreneur. We have Odaze, who is an educator. Glendy Jr. is our own year host of G Talk, and we have Ms. Cassell, who's a social activist here at Focus on Liberia. You do not want to miss it. Gentlemen, you all spoke well, and I will close this edition of On Point like this. The nation is Liberia and Iblis. Two men are left on the stage. Liberia decides. On the 7th, I heard, if I'm correct. Who will win? Will it be Weah or will it be Boakai? Politicians are always at the mercy of the people. But then when the people bless them, then they punish them by doing little or less, leading to their suffering. But the people too end up being at the mercy of the very politician after electing them. This story must change. It can only change with good people. Power is sweet. You can do so much good. You can do so much bad with it. Boakai has been there along with Unity Party. They did their best. Weah came with the CDC and they tried to do their thing. The Liberian people will be the judge. On that day, I will be here. I have a show that I will be presenting soon in which I will tell you who will win the election, and you better believe it. That analysis will be biting. You will get your winner. I will announce the winner before the National Election Commission. Believe it, it's going to happen. Well, this is how we will come to the end of yet another edition of On Point. I think the panelists were all on point. I hope as a host, I was also on point. Don't miss that show at 8 p.m. Eastern Time with my friend Dennis Baku Kenguja. He is the Archbishop and His Holiness of the Byway and Highways.
I enjoy that sermon.
Please watch that show, then all the stress will go away. Folks, this is how we close it. We see you around. Bye-bye. Enjoy the sun. We are all Liberians.
We are Liberians. Liberia is our home. Liberian people. Liberia.